Chapter 553. Ting Ting, do you really want to leave your father's protection and see how many dirty things there are in this world? When you see a person's good appearance, you think he's good from the inside out. When one day, his unbearable side appears in front of you, how do you accept it? Gentlemen. In today's high society, how many were real gentlemen? Wearing the guise of a gentleman to gain sponsorship, gain popularity, and fight for status. Being a gentleman in front of a woman was just to get her into bed. Gentlemen? He hadn't seen many of them. Fei Yan wouldn't find a woman outside, but was he a gentleman? Wasn't he a beast in human clothing and a fake gentleman? Oh, then did Yunyi see the bad side of you? She accepted it. That's right. Unfortunately, she discovered my darkest side. For example, he was actually not a gentleman. He was a hypocrite. He was selfish, vengeful, sinister, and cunning. There were many sides to him that others did not know, but she knew them all. Since he was young, he pretended to be a harmless child. When he grew up, he pretended to be very elegant and magnanimous. What? You're afraid that she'll tell others about your dark side, so you married her like this? Ting Ting, that's between us. You're so young and have such a good family background. Are you afraid that you won't be able to get married? Jiang Zhao's tone became heavier towards the end. Sing Ting Ting evaded and pushed the thermos on the table in front of Jiang Zhao. Drink this. I cooked it. Your sister-in-law makes me drink a lot of soup every day. I can't drink anymore. I'm still full now. Jiang Zhao pushed the thermos back. Sing Ting Ting was a so-called lady from a prestigious family. Jiang Zhao didn't believe that she didn't understand what he was saying. For example, Sing Ting Ting, who obviously didn't have a gentle and virtuous temperament and still drank and got high in the disco bar, but in front of her uncle and elders, she would put away her perverse personality and hold on to Zheng Weiguo's arm. She would try her best to restrain her smile, and even her voice was much lower than usual. Not all the children of wealthy families were as well behaved as Fei Yu. At least until now, among the second and third generations of Hai Cheng's wealthy families, there wasn't a single one with Fei Yu's personality that didn't stir up trouble. After Sing Ting Ting was rejected and the performance was over, her true nature was revealed again. Her tone of voice did not match her formal dress at all. Jiang Zhao, I won't despise you for your second marriage. Second marriage? Jiang Zhao laughed. When did I get married for the second time? How long have I been married? You haven't even had time to go on your honeymoon yet. Where did you get the answer to your second marriage? What I'm saying is that I won't mind if you divorce Yunyi, I can still marry you even if you divorce her. Jiang Zhao let out a long sigh. He smacked his lips and placed his hands on his knees. Then, as if he was using all his strength, he let out another sigh and stood up. He turned around and walked to the window, looking out with all his might. Sing Ting Ting did not understand. She suspected that there was an unknown object outside. Jiang Zhao, what are you doing? I'm checking to see if it's daytime or nighttime, Jiang Zhao said very seriously. It's daytime. It's so bright. Do you have to go over there to look? Jiang Zhao turned around and leaned against the window. He thought it was a little funny. Ha, so you know it's daytime? Yeah, can't you tell? Sing Ting Ting rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao and scolded him in her heart. He was crazy. Jiang Zhao thought to himself. Look, look. He even said that his wife was not good at this and that. At least his wife was better than Sing Ting Ting in one aspect. No matter how stupid she was smarter than Sing Ting Ting. If his wife heard him say something like that, her first reaction would be to know that he was being sarcastic. She would definitely jump up or scream, Jiang Zhao, you bastard. You actually said I was daydreaming. Or she would act cute and snuggle into his arms. Hubby, how can you say that about your cute wife? Or she would immediately turn into a black rabbit and look at him with watery eyes. She sniffled and said, Hubby, you despise me. You despise me again. Sigh, the gap between them was not just a little. Jiang Zhao, you and Yunyi are not compatible at all. My education level is higher than Yunye's, and my family background is better too. We will have more common topics to talk about. Jiang Zhao's tone was light, but his words were disdainful. Oh, what can I talk to you about? The development requirements of China's advanced productivity. The direction of China's advanced culture. The fundamental interests of China's most people. Do you want to talk to me? Xing Tingting was confused and swallowed her saliva. I don't want to talk about those political things. What's there to talk about? I'm not interested. Oh, then let me talk to you about why China wants to maintain the stability of its currency. What's the motive for America to put pressure on China's currency? How can China not repeat Japan's mistakes under such pressure? Is the importance of currency stability to imports and exports? Xing Tingting frowned again. It's not like I don't know what you're talking about, but I didn't study economics in university. I'm not interested in these things, and I don't want to talk to you in depth. The reason was clear on the surface, but it was impossible to talk about it in depth. Oh, then let me talk to you about city construction. City planning. Investment promotion. How to smoothly transition Haicheng's industries to the border counties. How to successfully transition Haicheng from an industrial city to a tourist city. You want to talk to me? Xing Tingting couldn't bear to listen to such boring things. Who wanted to talk about such things? Oh, then tell me, what do you and I have in common? Luxury goods. Private customization. Private jets. Which celebrity is the most handsome? What kind of beauty products are eaten? Secrets of the rich. Or which nightclub is the best? The best disc beater. Xing Tingting clapped her hands happily. Brother Zhao, you're so nice. We can talk about these things. But... Jiang Zhao paused awkwardly, then shrugged and smiled. I'm not interested in these things. I've never been interested in such things. Xing Tingting was petrified. Jiang Zhao, you're too much. Tingting, if I'm going too far, I'm already going too far when you said that your sister-in-law isn't good at everything. Jiang Zhao crossed his arms in front of his chest and raised his chin. I've been holding it in. If it were someone else, I would have thrown the thermos in front of you in your face. I'm still smiling and joking with you, and you're saying that I'm going too far. Oh, also, I have to explain to you about your sister-in-law's shortcomings and her family background. Jiang Zhao glanced at Xing Tingting's angry and resentful expression and walked to his desk. He was a little worried about his opponent. He sat back and crossed his legs like a big boss as he said to Xing Tingting, you said it yourself. My family background is good, and I have several degrees. You're right, my family background is really good. It's so good that I don't find it challenging to do things. After saying that, he frowned in pain, but his eyes were full of pride. Look at me. I already have such a good family background. Why would I need to find a wife with a good family background? Now that your sister-in-law is here, I can experience what it's like to be a hero saving a damsel in distress, right? How challenging is that? Jiang Zhao laughed, but Xing Tingting gritted her teeth. Also, you said that I have several degrees. I've read so many books. If I find someone who has read as many books as I do and stay at home every day to study the three representatives, currency inflation, and the direction of the city's economy, how boring would my life be? Besides, if I talk about these things, would someone like you, who has a diploma like you, be willing to talk to me about these things? She's working very hard and will be even more outstanding in the future. She's still young and has a bright future ahead of her. You don't have to worry about us. You really shouldn't spend your time on me. Even if I had the slightest interest in you, I wouldn't have left you alone for so long. Think about it carefully. Things like divorce won't happen to me. Don't worry. Xing Tingting always left in a rage because of Jiang Zhao. This time, she left with red eyes. She kept thinking about what Jiang Zhao had said. Even if I had the slightest interest in you, I wouldn't have left you alone for so long. How could this man be so hateful? How could he say such hurtful words in such an ungentlemanly manner? Shi Jintian held a bunch of keys and stood outside the studio on the second floor. He really wanted to insert the keys into the keyhole to see what was inside. Actually, he didn't need to see to know that those things were Yunwu's treasures. Yunwu had gone to the company to take care of things and wasn't home during the day. However, when it was the weekend, he would stay in the studio all day and not come out. When he came out, there wasn't much change. Yunwu was still eating and sleeping. There wasn't much difference, but it was precisely because of this that he was worried. He wondered if he should harden his heart and burn everything in the room. If he burned everything, it would be a clean end. He had spoiled Yunwu too much, but the Yunwu now wasn't the Yunwu of the past. The Yunwu of the past had a weak heart and couldn't be stimulated in the slightest. He had to protect him. Yunwu was his life. But now that Yunwu had grown up and had gone to the hospital for multiple checkups, it was confirmed that there was no problem with his heart. He didn't need to protect him like that anymore. He had to let Yunwu grow up and become a man who could take things up and let go. He couldn't be as weak as he was now. Yunwu had accurate and fast marksmanship, a rational and calm mind, and had always been decisive in doing things. As long as he could overcome the hurdle of love, he would be favored by the heavens. Yunwu couldn't make this decision. As his grandfather, he would make this decision for him. When the key was close to the keyhole, his hand trembled, and the bunch of keys jingled. Anan watched as Shi Jintian went up to the second floor and didn't come down for a long time. She wanted to see what was going on and saw this scene when she stood at the staircase. She slowly retreated, walked to the garden, and called Yunwu. An's appearance was that of a cold beauty. She had always been cold and expressionless. When she spoke, she was also methodical. "Brother Yu, Grandpa is outside your art studio. He seems to want to open the door, but he looks very nervous." Yunwu hung up the phone very quickly. Shi Jintian was in the art studio. He pulled open the white canvas, and he couldn't bear to look at the faces under it. He didn't know what kind of charm Yunyi had that allowed her to have so many expressions under Yunwu's pen. Bright and beautiful smile, silent sadness, shyness when she lowered her eyebrows, and playfulness when she grinned. Yunyi was the change of yin and yang. The sun was the curve of the four seasons. The Chinese parasol tree behind him was also the transition from death to life. It went from being bald in winter to being green in spring, lush in summer, and golden in autumn. Attention, Hengcha 866. Chapter 554. He didn't know how long it had been since Yunyi moved into Yunwu's heart, but he could tell that the paintings were neat and meticulous. A nude painting entered his eyes. Shi Jintian turned his face away and threw it on the ground forcefully. He didn't know what kind of relationship these two people had. He only knew that it would be better to destroy this house as soon as possible. Otherwise, his grandson would really be ruined. Although Shi Jintian was over 60 years old, he was still strong and healthy. The only thing that could make him sad was this grandson of his. He took down the drawing boards on the easel one by one. The ones that were mounted on the wall and dried on the bookshelf were all taken down and pushed together. At this time, he had to go all out. He strode to the door of the studio and shouted, "Ah Gui, come and move things. Burn it clean, burn it to ashes, and use it as fertilizer for peanuts." Yunwu's car drove very fast, especially when he heard An say. Grandpa asked the servants to move all the paintings in the studio to the open space in the back garden. The iron gate outside the house opened for Yunwu's car. The car didn't park in the parking lot in the front garden. Instead, it drove directly from the main villa to the back garden. Smoke was rising in spirals in front of the windshield. He slammed on the brakes, threw the car down, and rushed over without even closing the door. The young man was still the same young man, but he didn't have the stability that was disproportionate to his age. When he rushed into the fire recklessly, Shi Jintian's body swayed and he shouted, "Hold on to the young master." Perhaps the smoke was too strong, it was so strong that his eyes couldn't help but cry. There was a stinging pain in his palms and a charred smell on the back of his hands. However, when he saw the smiling faces slowly turn yellow, dark brown, and then ash, all the pain was gone. Only the most distinct feeling of tearing on his left chest was the clearest. "Grandpa," the young man punched Agui's face, then stretched out his leg to kick the servant who was trying to pull him back. He turned around and continued to save the things he cared about. His voice was no longer as clear as a spring. It was a sad cry. "Grandpa. What did I ask for?" His eyes were filled with misery and pain. His tears fell onto the painting that he had just snatched. He threw it on the ground before the flame was extinguished. He squatted on the ground and began to pat it with his bare hands. He had already made up his mind not to look for her again and let her live the life she wanted. What else could he do? He was already trying his best to let it go. What else could he do? His cries were filled with pain, and when he screamed, it was especially sorrowful. "Grandpa. What did I ask for? Why are you treating me like this? I didn't want anything. I only wanted these paintings. I didn't disturb her. I listened to you. I only wanted these paintings. Grandpa, why didn't you stab me with a knife? Why?" Shi Jintian had clearly made up his mind. He had clearly told himself that he had to be more ruthless towards Yunwu. He had spoiled him too much, which was why he was so stubborn when it came to matters of the heart. He was thinking that the blood flowing in his grandson's body shouldn't be so indecisive. He should have swung the knife and cut the Gordian knot. He was thinking that if he endured it a little longer, the child's hand would be in so much pain that he wouldn't dare to extend it into the fire anymore. When the pain was unbearable, he would stop. At that time, he couldn't stop him. He would just let him suffer. When the pain was over, this hurdle would be over. At worst, he would take him overseas for skin grafting. However, he could watch his grandson get burned, watch his grandson bleed, watch him throw a tantrum at the servants, but he couldn't bear to see his grandson unable to endure the pain and turn into tears in front of him. How many times had it been? It was all because of that Yunyi. Yunwu's temperament had always been pure and his appearance was quiet and beautiful. The clean shirts, t-shirts, and sweaters that he usually wore were all worn by him. Today, he was wearing an expensive suit. The shirt inside was still a flawless white. The white exposed at the cuffs were already covered in black ash. He stood up in a mess and quickly took off his suit. Holding it in his hand, he forcefully patted the flames on the rescued painting. There was nothing more painful than watching one's beloved things disappear inch by inch. Every painting was his heart's blood. Every stroke was his emotions. How could it turn into ashes bit by bit? As he said, he didn't ask for anything. He didn't let anyone see the heart-wrenching pain of this process. He had once slowly told her his feelings at that window. He said that he liked those ancient poems. There probably wouldn't be such a sad Shi-Yun-Wu in this world. Even if he liked someone, he could only tell her that he liked those poems. For example, "My heart pleases June, but June doesn't know." She definitely wouldn't think too much about it. Because he caught a glimpse of her gaze when Jiang Zhao came in. She was a widow. She had clearly eaten a box of fast food so quickly, but because of Jiang Zhao's unreasonable invitation, she was forced to eat another meal. That gaze wasn't forced, but joy. It was the joy and hope that only came when she could have a meal with her lover. He didn't want to enter her life again. It wasn't because he was so weak that he didn't dare to fight with Jiang Zhao, but because she needed Jiang Zhao to eat with her. That person wasn't him. It was painful to fulfill someone else's wish. It was the most painful to fulfill the happiness of one's beloved. He didn't tell anyone how he endured it. It was even more torturous than when he couldn't find her. Because at that time, there was still a little hope. He knew that after she got married, he was waiting for disappointment. When he gave up, it was the despair after the disappointment. He could clearly go to the Qin family for a meal like before, or get someone to check on Jiang Zhao's whereabouts. He could find her when she wasn't around, pretend to meet her by chance, and see how she was recently. But he thought that if he wanted to let go, he should let it go completely. More completely. It was just some nonsense to deceive himself. He gave up on the real person with a body temperature, but every day in the art room, he looked at the paintings and missed her. This was the root of the disaster. He knew that these paintings were the root of the disaster. He knew that the cloud was a disaster to him. She caused him to have difficulty breathing every night when he woke up from his deep sleep, and his heart ached like it was being twisted. She caused him to sit on the ground when he closed the door and saw those paintings, his heart and soul would be torn apart. She caused him to live in pain every day, but he still remembered her good. These paintings were the root of the disaster, but they were also hope. At least he could see them like this, caress them, and hug them to sleep. He wouldn't lose everything. Who would be able to understand such a feeling? If all these were gone, what would he do? It had been almost 2 years. He had never waited so long for anyone. On Wudong Street, those artists who loved art would still set up canopies to paint even if it was raining heavily. They said that the inspiration at that time would bring about unexpected gains. When it rained, he also went there to set up a canopy and set up an easel. When the rain fell like a pillar, it splashed high up, and the color of his pants that he always liked would be dirty. He would never forget that time when she ran over with an umbrella and wiped the mist from her face. "Oh my God, I just wanted to see if you came. I didn't expect you to really. Hey, it's raining so heavily. I made an appointment to come and get the paintings today. I'm sorry. I didn't wait for you to come and get the paintings. I still have to make money, so I'll be here every day." In fact, he had already told her that he would be there every day. There, waiting for her. As he waited, the paintings were gone. As he waited, even the paintings were gone. "Go and get some water." Shi Jintian couldn't take it anymore. In the end, he didn't continue to harden his heart. He hardened his heart, but he couldn't block out Yunwa's grief from his ears. He couldn't stand Yunwa's painful crying as he put out the fire. He muttered to himself, repeatedly asking himself, "What should I do? What should I do? The paintings are gone. What should I do? No. No. It'll all be ruined if I splash water on it. No." In the end, Shi Jintian could only compromise. He quickly got someone to bring the river sand used to build the terrace in the back garden and splash it on it. Unwu was injured and hospitalized. His hands were severely burned. The doctor said that he couldn't draw anymore. Unwu lay on the bed. He was very calm and only nodded. Shi Jintian sat beside him. Unwu looked at Shi Jintian with a soft, affectionate, and gentle gaze. He said lightly, "Grandpa, did you hear that? I can't draw anymore. So, don't burn the things I drew in the past. Just take it as a memento of the first 20 years of my life. Remember that I used to draw." The old man's eyes were already filled with tears. At this moment, when he heard Yunwa's seemingly simple but heartbreaking pleas, tears flowed out of his eyes. He caressed his hand that was wrapped in brown medicine and gauze. When he lowered his head, he sobbed. "Unwu, I'm sorry. Forgive Grandpa. Grandpa, I don't blame you. You're doing this for my own good. It's just that I've grown up. Let me experience what I need to experience, okay? Okay. Grandpa, I promise you again that I won't destroy Jiangzhou. Do you believe me?" "Yes. I'm so sleepy. Let me sleep for a while." In the early winter morning, Haicheng was covered in layers of fog. It had to be around 10 o'clock before it dissipated. Yi Er drove to the university town to attend the high school classes. Her major was chosen by Jiang Zhao. He didn't seem to want her to have much success in the future. In Yi Er's eyes, it was a bullshit major in finance and accounting. Jiang Zhao said that after she finished this major, it would be easy for her to take the civil service exam. Even if she didn't take the civil service exam, it would be good to have a wife who could manage the accounts. But I want to learn how to dance. What dance? What's there to learn? Didn't you win an award before? Your teacher might not be as good as you. If you have nothing to do, just stand on the bed and dance for me. Zhuang Yichen made an appointment with Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao thought it was something serious, but when he went over, he found out that it was about Xia Qian's driver's license. Today, Zhuang Yichen leaned against the princess bar counter. He rested his hand on the counter and played with a crystal glass in his hand. He didn't look as serious as he used to. He looked relaxed. Jiang Zhao sat on the high stool in front of the counter and poured himself a glass of wine. His head hurt when he talked about it, and he didn't want to drink anymore. I'm doing this for Xia Qian's good. With her skills, being a road killer is a small matter. If she accidentally gets into a car accident and becomes a vegetable or dies, I'm afraid that Qiu and Xiaoye won't be able to take it. Ha, that's good. If she dies, it'll be over. She won't have to persuade her all the time. With Zhuang Yichen's cold-blooded personality, it wasn't strange for him to say something like that. The glass was placed on the solid wood counter, making a soft muffled sound. Jiang Zhao was only worried that Xia Qian would hook up with Yi Er once her driver's license was released. He didn't stop Yi Er from being friends with Xia Qian, but he had to consider Yi Er's safety. I was the one who told Xia Qian to retake her driver's license. Now her license has been revoked. The reason is that cheating is invalid. Even her examiner has punished her. Now you're telling me to forget about it? No, let her retake the test. Beauty novel, Hung Cha 866. Chapter 555. Sigh. Zhuang Yichen shook his head. He let go of the bar counter and flipped over to lean against it. He looked at Jiang Zhao and said helplessly, Xia Qian said that she would never let Yi Er sit in her car again. She personally promised her sister. She also said. Zhuang Yichen paused and suddenly burst into laughter. Jiang Zhao was confused and asked, what else did she say? She also said. Zhuang Yichen took a sip of wine and swallowed it down his throat. He smacked his lips and said, she said that if Yunyi shamelessly begged to sit in her car, she would take a stick and break Yunye's legs. Ha! Zhuang Yichen laughed again. He didn't hear this from Qiu Shaoye. It was Qiu Shaoye who had brought Xia Qian to him that day and made the promise in front of him. That day, Xia Qian looked very dispirited. She hung her head and looked like she had lost someone she loved. Think about it. You're happily out with your friends and you're chatting while driving. Suddenly, you get into an accident and your driver's license is taken away. How miserable is that? There's nothing more heartbreaking than having your license taken away on your first day on the road. Shaoye nudged Xia Qian. Cut the crap. You're not out of love. Get to the point. Xia Qian pushed Qiu Shaoye away and watched Zhuang Yichen walk up to him. She whispered sneakily, brother-in-law, please help me think of a way to get my driving license back. I really don't want to take the driving test anymore. I still want to study and work seriously. My time is really precious. Shaoye didn't hear what Xia Qian was saying. She walked over impatiently and asked, what did you say to my friend? What did you want? Zhuang Yichen looked at Xia Qian and smiled. When he looked up at Shaoye, he raised his eyebrows and asked curiously, what did you say to your sister? Shaoye rolled her eyes at Xia Qian and reprimanded her in an exasperated tone. She insisted that I think of a solution for her. I told her that there was no solution, so she asked me to find someone to open the back door for her. I told her that you were my friend and that you might be able to help. However, it's fine if you don't want to help. Serves her right for provoking Jiang Zhao. She's lucky that he didn't make things difficult for her. Zhuang Yichen had been standing, but now he sat down and looked up at Xia Qian's sneaky expression. Qiu Shaoye had no reason to tell others about their relationship, but she kept saying that their relationship was over. Why did she come to him for help again and again? Xia Qian's way of calling him brother-in-law was interesting. Zhuang Yichen came back to his senses and looked at Jiang Zhao's gloomy face. Xia Qian's promise must have angered Jiang Zhao. He leaned his elbows on the bar counter and pushed his crystal glass towards Jiang Zhao's glass with his right hand. When they touched, he said, "Brother Zhao, do me a favor." "Who told you to investigate my private affairs? Wouldn't it be better if you didn't investigate me? If you didn't investigate me, I wouldn't have been able to find you for this. You're just looking for trouble." Jiang Zhao opened his glass and said, "Xia Qian's matter won't work. It's too dangerous. With her personality, she'll bring trouble to Yunyi sooner or later." As long as Zhuang Yichen asked Jiang Zhao for help, his attitude would be much better when there was no exchange of benefits. "What can she do?" "I asked Qiu Xiaoya to buy her a new car with a high safety factor, and also found her a personal training partner. Driving was just a matter of driving on the road, and she would get used to it after a while. Even if she has a bad personality, she won't do anything." "Yichen, then you really... You owe me a favor." "Yes, I'll remember it. Don't worry. I know how to pay back a favor." Jiang Zhao pushed his glass over and touched Zhuang Yichen's glass. The two of them raised their glasses and drank it in one gulp. Yi Er parked the car. There was a bag and a jacket on the passenger seat. He put on the jacket, grabbed the bag, pulled out the car key, and pushed the door open. Yi Er had just gotten out of the air-conditioned car, so it was a little cold. The cold fog and the chilly morning wind drilled into her neck, making her hair stand on end. She shrunk her neck and pulled the zipper on her thin jacket. The breath that he exhaled appeared very white in the misty morning, like a cloud. There was another person who stood on the balcony outside Shi Empire's CEO's office. He exhaled like he was exhaling a cloud. He reached out and gripped the air until the air that came out of his lungs dissipated. His hand hung in midair. His fingers were long and slender, but they were not as white as the skin on his face. They were mottled with pink spots like newly grown flesh. Anan knocked on the glass door. Unwu turned around and nodded at her. Anan pulled open the glass door and walked to Unwu. "Brother Yu, we've got the land at room 326. It was cheap, the lowest price in history. Thank you for your hard work." Unwu smiled with relief. Anan was normally a cold person. When she saw the smile on Yunwu's face, she sighed internally. Then she smiled along with Unwu, and her eyes lit up. "Brother Yu, Grandpa still doesn't know about this, should we inform him?" "There's no need for that. Grandpa will only let me do whatever I want. By the way, how's the deal with the expert going? Don't leave any loose ends." Unwu rarely frowned, but if he did, it meant that he was serious. Anan shrugged. "Don't worry, we've given him both dates and slaps, nothing will happen. What's next after we get the land? If we're going to put on a show, we'll tell the public that we're going to build a coating factory. Then, we'll find a suitable opportunity to invite an authoritative organization to conduct a test. We'll tell them how different the underground water is and how precious it is. We'll hire an expert to do these things. When the reward comes out, we'll build a large-scale hotel." "Okay, I'll arrange it now." Anan turned around and walked to the glass door. Then, she turned around again. "Brother Yu, I want to treat you to dinner tonight, okay?" "Ha!" Unwu smiled, and his face was as soft as the lake water in early spring. "Okay, I remember that today is Anan's birthday, right?" Anan bit her lower lip lightly, and her face suddenly flushed red. She immediately turned her face away. "Okay, let's go together after work." "Okay." Unwu shook his head as he watched Anan run away. He muttered, "Even Anan is a year older." Yi Er's bag size was large. She was tall, and carrying such a bag was very stylish. Moreover, she had to go to high school, so it was not a problem for her to carry some books. There was no lack of peers in the high school class, which made up for a lot of regrets in Yi Er's heart. Ever since she started school, she was obviously happier than before, even though she had only been in class for a few days. The seats in the class were random. Those who arrived early would get a better seat. Yi-er drove herself. Since there was nothing going on at home, she always arrived early. After she picked a seat, the empty seats around her could be filled up quickly. Moreover, it was a group of boys. Yi-er and Jiang Zhao did not hold a grand wedding. They were considered low-key among the wealthy. Even if people knew about Jiang Zhao, they might not be interested in his wife, especially the commoners. There was no one in this class who was born into a wealthy family. Moreover, she had not attended any public events with Jiang Zhao. It was normal for people who did not care about the people's lives to not know her. A bunch of boys wanted to make their presence known around her. There were even some who wanted to show off their muscles in the middle of winter. Forget it. Anyway, they wanted to show off their muscles. She was not the one who caught a cold, so she could not be bothered to look at them. Jiang Zhao was a man who looked muscular when he took off his clothes, but skinny when he put on clothes. She probably could not find such a good breed in this class. He was not good enough for her. The trouble was that some young men liked to use very romantic methods to woo her. There was no lack of sons of nouveau riche in this class. For example, there was one who had a family of a few million yuan and thought that he was rich. The cool boy had dyed his hair a flamboyant yellow. His hair was not very short, and when it moved, it looked like there was a hedgehog moving on his head. His ears were pierced with earrings. Suddenly, he sat down beside Yi-er. He leaned his hand in front of Yi-er's face and greeted her, "Hi, beauty." Yi-er also waved her hand. "Hi, classmate." Ah. The boy seemed a little disappointed by Yi-er's reaction. His hand was still moving around on Yi-er's desk like a snake. Beauty, are you free? Let's have lunch together. We can drive there." Yi-er frowned. The smile on her face was a little dry. Classmate," that hand was still waving in front of Yi-er's face. Yi-er was a little annoyed. "Classmate, the tattoo on your arm is a little scary." "Ah. Is it?" The boy swallowed his saliva and blushed. He reached out his other hand and touched the platinum chain on his wrist. He kept looking at the chain and said, "I think it's okay. It's not scary." Yi-er wanted to vomit blood. "Do you have to be so obvious? Will you die if you don't? Look at that Louis Vuitton wallet on your butt. Do you have to deliberately show a big part of it?" Seeing that Yi-er was still not asking, the cool boy asked shamelessly, "What do you think of this winter's new collection? Does it look good?" "It's not bad." Yi-er took out a book from her bag and placed it on the table. She pushed it away and deliberately took out another book and spread it open. She wanted to fill up the table and get rid of that non-mainstream hand. In the end, the cool boy diligently helped Yi-er tidy up the messy books on the table. He folded them neatly and said, "You don't have to take them all out. There aren't that many classes. If you think it's not bad, I'll give you this chain." "Ah." Yi-er shook her head. "It's too expensive. I don't want it." "What's the big deal? It's just a Cartier. If you like it, I'll buy a female one for you tomorrow." Some people around them couldn't stand it anymore, especially when there was such a big gap between the rich and the poor in the class. "You won't bring fake goods tomorrow, right? Fake your ass." The cool boy immediately stood up and made a face that said, "Are you F***king asking for a beating?" He glared at the boy sitting to Yi-er's left. Yi-er coughed. "I don't want this kind of thing. Don't waste your money." "I don't like it." "You don't like it?" The cool boy looked at Yi-er in disbelief. Yi-er thought in her heart. "What are you looking at? I'm also wearing branded clothes. It's just that I'm wearing custom-made clothes. But since they were classmates, it's better to be friendly. If this happened in high school, she wouldn't care. She would rather have a fight. But it's different now. If things get out of hand, people might say, two 19-year-old boys fought over the mayor's wife. This kind of news headline will be devastating. She doesn't want to provoke Jiang Zhao. In the afternoon, Yi Er went to the cafeteria alone for lunch. In the afternoon, the cool boy didn't come to class. Yi Er felt that things had calmed down. But when school ended, Yi Er was blocked at the school gate. The cool boy was carrying a bouquet of lilies and wanted Yi Er to accept it. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 556. You're not giving me face. Beauty, how about we have a candlelight dinner tonight? I'll take you to an Italian restaurant. The cool boy refused to believe that Yi Er could not get a beauty with money. He could get her just by eating and gifting her branded goods. Phew. Yi Er exhaled. She heard the alarm on her phone in her bag. She took it out and sent a message to Xia Qian. Qian, I'm stuck at the entrance of my school. Hurry up and save me. Just as the message was successful, her phone was turned off. When Xia Qian received the message, her first reaction was to run downstairs. As she ran, she called Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er just sent me a message saying that she's stuck at the entrance of her school and asked me to save her. Her phone is turned off. I think this is serious. Where are you? As soon as Xia Qian finished speaking, she heard the ear-piercing sound of screeching brakes coming from the phone. Jiang Zhao's phone was still pressed against his ear. He heard Xia Qian panting as she ran. She sounded very anxious. Stuck in a traffic jam. It couldn't be a traffic jam. She definitely didn't need someone to save her. She was stuck in a traffic jam. Was that why she needed Xia Qian to save her? He tilted his head and held the phone. He glanced at the rearview mirror and stepped on the accelerator. He turned the steering wheel and quickly made a U-turn. Xia Qian, go look for security first or bring a few classmates over. I'll be right there. Xia Qian couldn't drive her car, but she didn't forget to remind Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, I don't have a car now. My bike was taken away by my classmate. I'll run over now. Hurry up. You know how big the university town is. It'll take me a while to get there. Got it. I'll get someone to release your driver's license tomorrow. Hurry up and drive over. After Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he added, don't go too fast. Be careful not to hit someone. Okay. Xia Qian didn't drive. At this time, there were many people on the road. It was better to walk than drive. A newbie was most afraid of constantly changing gears and changing speed. She didn't need to look for security first. She would look for it outside Yi Er's school. That would save her time. She took the keys and the bike. She took it out and rushed out. Although Xia Qian was a smart person who would not forget to calculate her driver's license when her friend was in trouble, her chivalrous heart to save her friend from disaster did not diminish because of the benefits. She pedaled very quickly. The sun in winter was not as orange as it was in summer. But it was warm. Her hair was not coarse. It was very fine and not thick. Because of this, she always had a shoulder-length pear blossom hairstyle. Her permed hair was a little loose, making it look like she had more hair. As she pedaled the bicycle at high speed, her small shoulders shook from side to side. She seemed to be working very hard. Her medium-length hair was pulled up by the inertia of the wind, making her look like a beautiful superwoman. By the time Xia Qian rode her bike to the School of Business, it was as if she had gone through an intense physical training. Her back was drenched in sweat, and her face was red with sweat. She couldn't even breathe. He took off his jacket and threw it in the basket in front of the bike. There were a lot of people around the school gate. Everyone was talking. Yi Er was surrounded by the crowd. She didn't even have time to set up the bike. She threw it on the ground and rushed over. Xia Qian was angry. Damn it! She transformed into a beautiful female warrior and rushed from the north gate to the south gate of the university. Did she come just to see a boy with a strange temperament give Yi Er lilies? He even knelt on one knee. The boy made Xia Qian think, $15 for a hair dryer. But at least he was male. He didn't look like a coward. Damn you, Yun Yi. You damn woman. We're friends. Do you have to be so obvious? Will you die if you don't show off? It's fine if you show off to others. But you deliberately sent me a message to force me to see you show off. Don't you know that I've never received flowers? Don't you know that I don't have a boyfriend? Xia Qian was an idiot. Her actions and thoughts were different from ordinary people. He forgot that what he should be doing now was to save Yi. He started to touch his own face. Baby fat. I don't think so. She touched her waist. Bucket waist? I don't think so. She touched her butt. Not perky. I think it's a little perky. She touched her legs. Not long. She's only this tall. Her proportions are okay. Finally, she touched her chest. She finally found the crux of the problem. She shrugged her shoulders like a defeated rooster. Sigh, it's too flat. She doesn't even tremble when she runs without a bra. He really envied those women who ran with a pile of waves in front of their chests, trembling violently. Sigh, she thought of those women in commercials on TV. Why did those women with F breasts have to wear low-cut clothes? How could those girls with A breasts endure it? Yi Er saw Xia Qian and heaved a sigh of relief. It was as if he had seen his savior. Qian Qian. Xia Qian glared at Yi Er. Call me your sister. How many days have you been in the university? You've only been here for a few days and someone is already giving you flowers. I've been here for a few years. How dare you accept flowers after a few days? If you dare, I'll break off our friendship. You really made bad friends. What a blow. Yi Er was stunned. That's not right. Shouldn't Xia Qian be glaring at the non-mainstream? Xia Qian. Your sister is in trouble now. Instead of coming to help, you're tidying up your appearance. Are you crazy? Xia Qian looked at Yi Er's pleading face. For the sake of her driving license, she had to endure it. She questioned Yi Er angrily, what are you still doing here? Hurry up and go back. Your husband is looking for you. Yi Er wanted to kick Xia Qian. Couldn't she be nicer? He whispered, did you eat gunpowder? I get hot when I see you. Xia Qian felt that she needed to put out the fire. Husband. But it didn't matter. He wasn't afraid. What young people needed was to be hot-blooded, impulsive, persistent, and daring to love and hate. As long as they had their eyes on something, they would fight for it even if the King of Heaven were to come. How exciting would that be? Young people needed to be hot-blooded, impulsive, stubborn, persevering, daring to love and hate. As long as they had their eyes on something, they would fight for it even if the King of Heaven came. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. It's okay. We're all eating together. What? Yi Er and Xia Qian looked at the cool boy in a daze. Then they looked at each other and communicated with their eyes. Is he crazy? Actually, wash, cut, blow was not bad looking. It was just that he was dressed too strangely. His clothes and pants were all sparkling. It was a completely unconventional combination. The only thing missing was a sign that said, I'm a non-mainstream, or wash, cut, blow, 15 yuan. He was even kneeling on the ground with one knee and holding up the lilies with both hands. Yi Er asked with concern, student, are you tired? Why don't you sit on the ground and rest? Then she would find a nail and pin it down. Wash, cut, blow, was delighted. Sit. The beauty was actually asking him to sit. It seemed like she was concerned about him. He wasn't afraid of being tired. He continued to maintain the posture that he felt gave him the best chance of winning. Will you accept it? Yi Er's eyes were as pure as a rabbit's. She gave a friendly but fake smile. No. Give it to someone else. No, you have to accept it. Otherwise, I won't let you leave. Xia Qian smiled as she bent down and leaned in front of the boy. She sniffed the fragrant lilies and enjoyed it very much. Ha, student, why don't you give it to me? I quite like it. Wash, cut, blow, looked at Xia Qian and his eyes lit up. Although she wasn't as tall as Yi Er and had a flat chest, she was quite good-looking. Just as he was about to hesitate, the surrounding crowd began to talk. Oh my god, it's Xia Qian. Yeah, the famous person in the university town. The one from the media school. Xia Qian's mouth twitched. Oh, right. She pushed a girl down in the garden and kissed her. The entire university town knows about the photo. It's so explosive. Yeah. That girl even posted a post complaining about what happened to her. She said that she was forced. Xia Qian stood up and sneered at the crowd. Shut up. You're slandering me. It caused her to have no suitors from junior high to university. Every time she met a woman, her reputation would be ruined. There was a boy in junior high who confessed to her. That was history that she would never forget. However, the next day, she was set up by a girl in her class. She was the one who was forced to kiss, but the photos that came out were all of her. They were even having sex in the grass. Moreover, that girl was recognized by the whole school as fat sis. Not only was she looked down on for having bad taste, the school even said that the physical and mental health of teenagers nowadays required psychological counseling. Because of her incident, the school even hired a psychologist for several months to teach the students about gender selection. From then on, not a single boy dared to pursue her. Even the boys who had confessed to her avoided her when they saw her. That was fine. It wasn't easy for her to endure until she graduated from high school. She thought about the beautiful university life that was coming. Dating was allowed in university. She, this withered tree, was finally going to experience spring. Who knew that she would encounter the same painful history as in junior high? She had just confessed to a boy, but the next day, she was forced to kiss again. It was an ugly girl who cried and complained that she was the one who forced herself on her. Following that, the school forum posted her criminal record in junior high. Criminal record. When he was in junior high school, he forcefully kissed an ugly girl and pressed her into the grass. When he was in university, pressing an ugly girl into a flower bush and forcefully kissing her shouldn't be something unacceptable. Therefore, she could only fantasize about handsome men. She could see them, but not touch them. Sigh, a woman who didn't have her first kiss. How sad and unlucky. Anyway, no boy dared to pursue her. Even if she saw a handsome man with a heart, he would tremble. It didn't matter if she thought about it. Anyway, university was coming to an end. When she got a job in the future, she would be completely innocent. Yi Er knew about Xia Qian's history, so he didn't have much of a reaction. When the kneeling man heard Xia Qian's history, he immediately dispelled his impulse to woo her. He said firmly, I only like Yi Er. He then placed the hesitant lilies in front of Yi Er. If Yi Er moved to the left, he would move the flowers to the left. If Yi Er moved to the right, he would move to the right. If Yi Er moved to the left, he would chase after him and kneel down again. Yi Er was entangled like this and couldn't get away. If there weren't so many people watching, she would have found a brick and thrown it at him. My name is Deng Chao. I'm 19 years old. I live in the south. Deng Chao, who had a unique aura, said stubbornly. He raised his eyebrows and looked at the people around him with a smug look. The south was a rich area. Deng Chao, I'll accept it on behalf of Yi Er. Xia Qian thought that it would be good to put the flowers in a vase. Yi Er added, Deng Chao, go buy another bouquet for Qian Qian. She likes to be in a sea of flowers. Xia Qian immediately hooked her arm around Yi Er's arm. They were like sisters. Not bad. Come and see, Xinwu 799. Chapter 557. With Xia Qian around, Yi Er was not as nervous as before. After all, Xia Qian was a witness. Whenever she took a step forward, Xia Qian would chase after her and stop her. She refused. Otherwise, they would have to fight. Ever since she was almost stabbed to death by a hooligan, she did not dare to pick a fight. Hey, Deng Chao, why don't you get up and let Qian Qian accompany you to eat Italian food? My husband doesn't like Italian food. The crowd burst into laughter. Xia Qian's eyes lit up as she looked at Deng Chao. Italian food? I want the most expensive one. She acted as if he was going to have a meal with her. The crowd burst into laughter again. Yi Er, I like you. Take the flowers and let's go for Italian food. You can bring your boyfriend along. It's my treat. I'll make him back off. Pft. Pft. Xia Qian held onto Yi Er and also spat at herself. Young man, it's not that I want to chide you, but it's not right for you to do this. Jiang Zhao was very tall. When he walked briskly towards the crowd, Xia Qian saw him. She jumped up and waved at Jiang Zhao. Over here. Yi Er looked up and saw her too. She stomped her foot. It's over. Xia Qian, you traitor. If anything happens to me today, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Xia Qian said, I don't want to let you off either. Jiang Zhao pushed through the crowd and saw the so-called blockage. It was really blockage and annoying. Xia Qian looked at Jiang Zhao and scratched her head. I'm sorry. I didn't know she wanted me to come over to deal with this. If I had known, I wouldn't have asked you to come over. I can handle it myself. After that, she looked down at Deng Chao, who was getting more and more arrogant. She reached out her leg and nudged his knee. Look at him. Back off, in the face of difficulties is tailor-made for you. When Deng Chao saw Jiang Zhao, he was obviously stunned. Yi Er's husband. A child who did not care about politics would not know how the mayor looked like after he published the newspaper. But he was so handsome. Where did he get this celebrity from? I didn't accept it. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao innocently. Jiang. Deputy mayor. That's right, that's right. He's more handsome than on TV and in the newspapers. It's in the winter. When Deng Chao heard from the crowd that this person was the deputy mayor, he could not believe it. He never read newspapers or news. He only watched the entertainment programs on the various channels. He knew Xian Bin, Zheng Yuanchang, He Jiong, Happy Base Camp, and even Kangxi was here. However, he didn't know what time Haiqing News simulcast started and ended. He also didn't know the name of Haiqing's party secretary. He knew there was a very handsome deputy mayor called Jiang Zhao, but he was forced to do so by the girls in his class. The girls were crazy about him, but he was not. She looked at Jiang Zhao for a while before she came back to her senses. It was true. This time, he was in big trouble. Thank you. It's a nice flower. Jiang Zhao took the flowers from the boy and asked casually, Are you my wife's classmates? Jiang Zhao was too polite, so Deng Chao could only reply indifferently. Then let's have dinner together. It's time for dinner. Yi Er felt dizzy and said softly, Ah Zhao. Jiang Zhao held Yi Er's hand gently and looked at her. You are too much. As he spoke, he placed the flowers in Yi Er's hands. His long arms wrapped around her shoulders and his large hands caressed her round shoulders. I even told you to keep a low profile in case someone gives us a wedding gift. You just can't control your mouth. Deng Chao was speechless. Those gifts were not for the both of you. They were for Yi Er alone. But it was a stressful thing to see a handsome man standing in front of her. There were a lot of girls who were smitten by Feng Yu. Look at that handsome man. His eyes were full of love, his smile was full of love, and his gentlemanly demeanor. It was really mesmerizing. The mayor was really good at reading people's feelings. Xia Qian was about to go crazy. Yun Yi. Our grudge has been sowed. You are such a cunning woman. After showing off your suitor, you show off your husband. So what if you have a husband? What's the big deal? Hey, look at this sour feeling, so hateful. For the sake of my driving license, I will bear with it. You have a husband, and I have a car. Fine. You also have a car. Although your car is slightly better than mine, but your car was bought by your husband. You are living off a woman. I look down on women like you who live off women and don't have any real ability. Fine. My car was also bought with my sister's money. Look up at the sky. Oh, God. We are both living off a woman, but why is there such a big difference? When will you open your eyes and see how unfair this world is? Where are my peach blossoms? Give me back my peach blossoms. Jiang Zhao stood in front of Deng Chao. Although he looked as gentlemanly and elegant as he appeared in front of the media, there was an inexplicable aura in his smile. Especially when he looked at Deng Chao, it was as if a sword could shoot out from his smiling eyes. Deng Chao shivered. They are really married. He took another look at Jiang Zhao and immediately looked away. Is this mayor trying to kill someone? You. Jiang Zhao held Yi in one hand and extended his other hand to Deng Chao. He put his 4 fingers together and separated his thumbs. He introduced himself, Jiang Zhao, Yun Yi's legal husband. We registered our marriage on National Day this year. May I know your name? This time, Deng Chao could tell that Jiang Zhao was hiding a dagger behind his smile. He gave himself some encouragement and stretched out his hand. Deng Chao. Jiang Zhao looked at Deng Chao with a smile and said, "Thank you for the lilies you gave us. Although Yi didn't announce our marriage to the public, I will take some time to invite her classmates to have a meal together. Mr. Deng, you must come. I want to thank you for your kindness." Deng Chao shook off Jiang Zhao's hand and said, "Those lilies are for Yi Er." Jiang Zhao stood in front of so many people and said, "It's the same. Husband and wife are one. I got to thank you for giving those lilies to her." A pretty girl clapped her hands. "Mayor Jiang is so generous. You and the mayor's wife are so affectionate. Thank you. Thank you." Jiang Zhao nodded and thanked them. But in his heart, he was scolding them. He was a politician, but why are they behaving like those in the entertainment industry? All of them need to be taught a lesson. Good bearing. He was not so generous. He wished he was a member of the triad now. He wanted to teach this guy a lesson. The 3 of them entered the car, and Jiang Zhao turned to Xia Qian. "Xia Qian, thank you for telling me about Yi Er's news. I will treat you to a meal." Jiang Zhao dragged out the words, "as soon as possible." When he finished speaking, he looked meaningfully at Yi Er, who was sitting beside Xia Qian. Yi Er felt a little creeped out by his stare. First, she knew she would die a horrible death today. She wondered if she would die without a corpse. Xia Qian said that they must eat good and expensive food to show Jiang Zhao's status. Jiang Zhao said, "How about Sea Moon Restaurant?" Xia Qian said, "That's a good idea." Then she sighed and said, "I feel like going to work today." Jiang Zhao did not show any signs of wanting to skin Yi Er alive. This calmness made Yi Er feel uneasy. But when she thought about what Jiang Zhao said at the entrance of the school, she felt so happy. His gaze was so memorable. Yi Er was completely engulfed in happiness. Her husband was such a good person, and her mood gradually improved. She sat in the back seat and hooked her arm around Xia Qian's. Qian, you're so good to me. You came just like that. I have no regrets in this life to have a confidant like you." Jiang Zhao listened to Yi Er chatting with Xia Qian and Yi Er. He took out his phone and typed a text. University Town's business school opened a second class this year. Deng Chao. His family information has been found. His demeanor. His bearing. That would not be used when other people were coveting his wife. Although he was just a kid, kids were the ones who were annoying. He pestered him every day. How could he let him go to work? Some of the things that were out of line these days were all caused by these kids who did not know their limits. They did whatever they wanted. The key was that provocative gaze. He felt that such a person should not be left by Yi Er's side. Sooner or later, something would happen. Did he think he could fly just because he had some money? Did he think he could touch any woman he wanted? Not to mention that Yi Er was his wife now, even before they were married, it was impossible. She was just attending school. Why did she cause so much trouble? How many days had it been? Was she that attractive? It couldn't be, right? She wasn't that good-looking, right? She was just a so-so, right? He raised his eyebrows and looked at the rearview mirror. The two girls were fighting and playing. His heart skipped a beat. Little kids. When the word little kid popped out again, he was stunned. That's right. She was a little kid. Deng Chao was also a little kid. Two little kids. Did they have a common language? Xia Qian pushed Yi Er away and said disdainfully, "Good my ass. So what if you have people chasing you? You want to show me? I don't owe you money, right?" Yi Er looked at Xia Qian for a few seconds and laughed out loud. "That's right. Who asked you to owe me money? Since you didn't pay me back, I can only make you unhappy. You haven't received such a big bouquet of flowers, right? Isn't it very fragrant? Isn't it very beautiful? Has anyone ever knelt before you before? Qian, hurry up and pay me back. After you pay me back, I won't treat you like this anymore." Xia Qian huffed and puffed. Oh, this damned woman. She dug a hole for her and she really jumped into it. Shameless. Yi Er was taller than Xia Qian, but at this moment, he leaned on Xia Qian's shoulder and chuckled. How can I hang out with you if I'm shameless? If I hang out with you if I'm shameless, I'll be at a disadvantage. How about it? You owe me such a big sum of money. Do you want to calculate the interest? Interest? I've already paid back all my debts today. Xia Qian glanced at Jiang Zhao, who was driving, and kept silent. She raised her voice and said to Yi Er, if I was late today, would you have accepted the flowers? Would you have gone to eat Italian food with that guy? Luckily, I was there in time. You looked so smug at the time. It looked like you were about to run away with him. Have you never seen flowers or that kind of guy before? When did your taste become so unique? Come and see Xinwu 799. Chapter 558. Hey. Xia Qian, what are you talking about? Yi Er's face changed. She quickly glanced at the man in front, who was holding the steering wheel, and covered Xia Qian's mouth. What are you talking about? That's why I texted you to help me out. You saw it too. He was kneeling on the ground and refused to get up. I chased after him. Xia Qian shook her head and said, that's why I found it strange. You're so tall and strong. You could have just kicked him over. Why did you let him express his love for you? You're just vain. You just wanted to show off in front of me. But you didn't expect that I would call your husband over when I was worried. That's why you quickly restrained yourself, right? You even said that if anything happens to you today, you will haunt me even after I become a ghost. I just can't stand women like you who are greedy. Xia Qian knew Yi Er would not kick that hairdryer over. She would have kicked that hairdryer over when she had no status. But now, she was the mayor's wife. How could she do such an inappropriate thing? She had no choice but to ask her to go over. But since she despised her for not receiving any flowers and no one had pursued her before, she will make sure that something bad happens to her today. Ha ha ha. But why did Jiang Zhao not have any reaction? Shouldn't he step on the brakes? Should he turn around and roar at her? Is this how a husband should react? While driving, Jiang Zhao looked at the text message on his phone. Deng Chao, 19 years old. Ancestral home in Wuxian, Haicheng. His father owns 2 leather factories with a total of 1,000 workers. They produce luggage, leather shoes, belts, and other goods. There is a 200 square meter property in the south of Haicheng. There is a villa in the suburbs. Wu County. Jiang Zhao finished reading the messages. Sure enough, he was chasing after women just because he was rich. When he told Yi Er that she was his wife, that brat still dared to say that the flowers were for Yi Er. He still wants to go against me. There was a bit of a traffic jam at this time, so it was a good time to write a text message. Check taxes, check accounts, check fire protection, check employee overtime wages and labor contracts. Thinking about it, he had also used this method to deal with Yi Er's friend, Zheng Ling, to make her retreat. But it was a coincidence that they were both businessmen. After sending the message, Dong Xuebing replied. Okay. I will do it now. Yi Er pinched Xia Qian. Xia Qian, you have to be responsible for what you say. When did I eat from the pot and look at the bowl? Xia Qian cried out in pain. I told you the truth. Are you trying to kill me to silence me? Yi Er naturally did not silence her. She got up from her seat and stood face to face with Xia Qian, blocking Jiang Zhao's line of sight. She reached out her demonic claws, grabbed Xia Qian's breasts, and squeezed hard. Xia Qian was in so much pain that she wanted to scream, but she did not dare to. I will take my revenge. Yi Er sneered. I am helping you. Didn't you always complain that your breasts are too small? I will pinch and make them swollen. Xia Qian wanted to take revenge, but she did not dare to hit Jiang Zhao's wife in the car. The reason was simple. She still had not gotten her driver's license. Even if she had gotten her driver's license, she could not afford to offend her. Xia Qian suddenly realized that her driver's license was in jeopardy. What's so great about the mayor? I will find a governor and trample him to death. Forget it. The governor is too old. He should be around Jiang Zhao's age. Fine. This girl without a boyfriend is starting to think about handsome guys. It's sad. No. My breasts are exquisite. You don't understand. Xia Qian was thinking. Will it really hurt if I pinch them? If I pinch one of them, will there be a big one and a small one? Damn Yunyi. Why don't you pinch both of them? Ha ha ha. So exquisite. Yi Er laughed. Jiang Zhao brought Yi Er and Xia Qian to Haiyue restaurant. When they entered, the head waiter immediately came over to receive them. Jiang Zhao greeted him. Xia Qian is the one who recommended us. She will get the commission. We will be having our meal here today. Xia Qian lowered her head proudly and pretended to be reserved. The head waiter was giving face to the mayor, and the meaning behind his words was clear. No problem. They walked towards the lift. Mayor Jiang. Jiang Zhao stopped in his tracks and turned around. The smile on his face widened, and his voice sounded magnanimous and hearty. Hello, Mr. Shen. As he spoke, he strode back, appearing very enthusiastic. Shen Kai also walked over and shook hands with Jiang Zhao almost at the same time. Ha ha ha. Mayor Jiang, you are also having your meal here today. Yes. What about you? Both of them let go of their hands. Oh, I am alone. When he saw the 2 women behind Jiang Zhao, Xia Qian naturally caught his attention. He smiled and recommended to Jiang Zhao. Haiyue restaurant's egg fried rice is not bad. The loofah soup and kelp are also not bad. You should try it. Xia Qian almost vomited blood. Those who block my path to wealth. Die. Even if you are handsome, you are not an exception. There will be no mercy. Jiang Zhao and Shen Kai had known each other since they were young. They were also in the same batch in university. In the past, when Shin Kai was pursuing Ouyang Yen, his relationship with Jiang Zhao was not that bad. Shin Kai once treated Jiang Zhao to a drink, and both of them had a fight. Shin Kai said that he could not bear to see Jiang Zhao being so arrogant. He felt that Jiang Zhao was not someone who could be snatched away from him. No one could snatch Ouyang Yen away from him. Ouyang Yan's attitude was the same as Jiang Zhao's. She was still eating and drinking with her love rival. It was as if she was telling everyone in Haiyue University that the man belonged to her, Ouyang Yen. No matter how much you look forward to it, he will never be yours. Both of them were equally arrogant. Even if many people wanted to break them up, they had to spread their stories. They were a match made in heaven. Both of them were from powerful families. One of them was from a wealthy family, and the other was from a powerful family in both politics and business. Ouyang Yen would not lose to Jiang Zhao in any exams. The number of degrees Jiang Zhao had, Ouyang Yen would also have the same number of degrees. Both of them could always work together. They were both arrogant and disdainful of others. The reason for their disdain was because they had set their sights on each other. They were a match made in heaven. But even so, looking at the people behind Jiang Zhao, you would believe that nothing in this world could last forever. Nothing could last forever. So, it was better not to think that anything could last forever. Because if you had such thoughts, when eternity finally broke, you would only feel that the heavens were always playing tricks on you. Shin Kai whispered to Jiang Zhao, "Your wife is very beautiful. You definitely won't say that she's not beautiful, haha." Jiang Zhao waved his hand and patted Shin Kai's back. "Let's eat together. You'll be alone anyway." Of course. Shin Kai was a straightforward person, so he agreed right away. Yi Er originally wanted to bare her fangs and brandish her claws at Xia Qian, but when she saw Jiang Zhao's colleagues, she could only put away her restless thoughts and only dared to make some small moves. Shin Kai was also a very observant person. Yi Er's small moves did not escape his eyes. He was puzzled. When did Jiang Zhao like this kind of woman? Was it just because she was young and beautiful? Although Ouyang Yen was a few years older than Yunyi, she took good care of herself and looked very young. She also had a much better temperament than Yunyi. Ouyang Yen looked like a woman who knew a lot of things. Didn't Jiang Zhao like that? Although today's commission was Xia Qian's, she did not work overtime today, so there were other people serving her. The few of them sat down and started to order. Xia Qian refused to hand the menu to Shin Kai. After a few words, Shin Kai understood what she meant. He did not say anything. He was not the host today. Xia Qian found it strange. Why didn't this guy order today? She was worried that he would order. Shin Kai placed one hand on the table and sat casually. He was a casual person. As long as he was not eating with a very important superior, he would be like this. The two men's suits had already been hung up. Yi Er watched the two men chat from time to time. They dressed in the same way. Probably because they worked in the government, Jiang Zhao looked very righteous. She knew that Jiang Zhao had always been like this outside. Although Shin Kai was also wearing a shirt and a collared sweater, she did not know if it was an illusion, but she always felt that Shin Kai was a little bad. She always thought that the men who worked in the government were all like Jiang Zhao. They were beasts outside and beasts when they took off their clothes at home. In the end, there were people like Shin Kai. Other than the rigid court uniform, he always gave people the impression that he was not a kind person. Did he not know how to hide himself like Jiang Zhao? Jiang Zhao and Shin Kai sat together, while Yi Er and Xia Qian sat across from each other at the round table. This way, they were very far away. However, Jiang Zhao was a male chauvinist, so Yi Er didn't mind. She kept a distance from him and chatted with Xia Qian while eating. The private rooms in Haiyue restaurant were very big. Xia Qian wanted to take advantage of Jiang Zhao again, so she insisted on ordering the largest private room. The large private room had a minimum charge, so her commission was high. However, this way, the table was very big. Moreover, there was music in the private room, so Xia Qian and Yi Er could not hear them clearly. When Xia Qian lowered her head to eat, she looked up and glanced at Shin Kai. She said to Yi Er, "Why does Jiang Zhao have friends like this? Wu Jiu and the other. They're colleagues." "Humph," Xia Qian snorted unhappily. Yi Er sniffled. "You're so weird. Did they provoke you?" Xia Qian thought to herself that she should just forget it. She should not provoke this man at this table. If he wanted to take revenge in the future and specially came to her place of work to order egg fried rice, she would go crazy. "I was just humming. You're so nosy." However, she was a little unhappy, so she said, "You know how to order good food when you're eating others, but you're so stingy when you're eating yourself." Although the table was big, Shin Kai heard this sentence clearly. He raised his eyebrows and found it funny when Xia Qian lowered her head to talk bad about him behind his back. "Miss Xia, who are you talking about?" Xia Qian looked up. "Nobody. I was just saying. Why do I feel like you're talking about me?" Yi Er and Jiang Zhao looked at each other, indicating that they did not understand. Xia Qian felt that she was here to spend money today, so her level was different. She felt that it was not good to mention his name. "If you insist on blaming yourself, then there's nothing I can do." "Oh, so you're not talking about me. No wonder I couldn't remember. You should eat more today. Anyway, you won't treat me back if I ask you." Come and see, Hengcha 866. Chapter 559. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by I will not treat you back? Shin Kai said calmly. Then the next time you treat Mayor Jiang and Mrs. Jiang to a meal at Haiyue restaurant, remember to invite me. I need to be your witness. If not, I will not believe that a stingy person like you will do such a thing. Xia Qian froze. Oh God, this bastard had seen through her. He knew that she was stingy. But why must it be Haiyue restaurant? Does he want her to go bankrupt? Why do I need you to be my witness? Do I want you to come over and watch us eat? Ha, if Miss Xia can treat Mrs. Jiang and Mrs. Jiang to a meal, she must be a generous person. Do you mind having an extra pair of chopsticks? I mind. Shin Kai laughed shamelessly. I don't mind basking in Mayor Jiang and Mrs. Jiang's glory. I can also fill my stomach. Xia Qian really wanted to scold him. Facing such a shameless man, how could she be so wrong that she didn't even dare to say, F***ck, or, your sister? It was all Jiang Zhao's fault. She was afraid of this man who worked for the government. He always used his authority to create trouble for her. She could not afford to get hurt. Her sister had taught her not to mess with the rich and powerful. Now, there were a bunch of new rich and powerful people in High City. They were all from wealthy families and should not be messed with. Luckily, this matter did not get out of hand. If it got out of hand, no one would be able to save her. No matter how stupid she was, she still knew what was at stake. To prevent herself from scolding, Xia Qian turned to look for trouble with Yi Er. Look at your husband treating me to a meal. He had said that he would treat me, but he still wants to include me. This meal does not count. Yi Er rolled her eyes at Xia Qian. Dream on. Next time, you still want to cheat my husband? Dream on. I will treat you next time. I don't want you to treat me. I want Jiang Zhao to treat me. You are such a stingy person. You will not treat me more than 200 renminbi. You dare to call me a stingy person? Every time you treat me to a meal, it will not be more than 50 renminbi. Are you the same as me? I don't have a boyfriend, a husband, a job, or money. Yi Er smiled mysteriously. There's still something you don't have. What? Yi Er placed her hands on Xia Qian's shoulders and pressed her down under the table. The tablecloth was very long, and the two women's heads were exposed. Xia Qian cooperatively bent down and asked again in a low voice, Do I have anything else? Yi Er reached out and grabbed Xia Qian's breasts, squeezing them hard. You have no breasts. So, I'll help you make it bigger. Xia Qian almost flipped the table, but she didn't dare to cry out in pain. Yunyi, can't you change it? When the time comes, my shoulder will tilt. Ha! Yi Er covered her mouth and whispered into Xia Qian's ear, I'm good now. And don't worry, I'll squeeze you 10 more times and your shoulders won't tilt. Because you're not an A, you're A. Ha! Xia Qian knew that she was small, but it wasn't to the extent of being concave, right? When did this Yunyi become so vicious? Actually, before Yi Er met Xia Qian and Xiaoya, she would never have randomly squeezed a girl's breasts like she was doing now. But the first time she met Xiaoya, Xiaoya had squeezed her breasts. After that, she became more daring. The more she played, the more familiar she became. And the more familiar she became, the less she took it seriously. Jiang Zhao watched as Yi Er happily pushed Xia Qian back and forth. The two of them were mumbling something to each other, and the corners of his mouth lifted. Children will always be children. She can throw a tantrum anywhere. Let her throw a tantrum. Otherwise, she'll cry and complain that she has depression, that she's going to suffocate to death, that she's going to commit suicide, that if she dies, he'll lose his wife, and all sorts of inauspicious things. Seeing how happy she was now, it was impossible for her to have depression. Shen Kai looked at Yi Er and Xia Qian, who were sitting opposite them. He didn't know what they were laughing about. Yunyi looked like a lady from a wealthy family, but she kept hitting Xia Qian under the table. Jiang Zhao had been in a relationship with a woman like Ouyang Yan. How could he tolerate it? He turned and saw Jiang Zhao looking at Yi Er with a smile on his face. Jiang Zhao. Shen Kai had not addressed Jiang Zhao as mayor ever since he entered the private room. Jiang Zhao regained his senses. He didn't mind Shen Kai addressing him this way. Shen Kai, what is it? After Yi Er and Xia Qian were done fooling around, they turned around and saw Jiang Zhao slowly picking up the white jade wine cup in front of him. As he listened to Shen Kai speak, his expression became more and more serious. The cup in his hand touched Shen Kai's cup lightly, and the two of them drank slowly. When the wine reached their lips, they smacked their lips and furrowed their brows. Yi Er was a little worried. Especially when she saw Jiang Zhao keeping his mouth shut and straightening his back. He took a deep breath and slowly let it out through his nose. Then he slowly lowered his shoulders. Although his movements were small, she could tell that Shen Kai was talking about something important. But his voice was too soft. It was not as loud as the music in the private room. After dinner, Yi Er said that she would drive Shen Kai and Xia Qian back first. Shen Kai stood in front of Haiyu restaurant and wore his old-fashioned suit from the procuratorate. But he unbuttoned his suit, revealing his V-neck sweater. He pulled up his suit and put his hands in his pockets. He tilted his shoulders slightly and said to Yi Er, Mrs. Jiang, please send Mayor Jiang back first. I did not drink tonight. I have been drinking mineral water. The one who drank is your husband. I can drive my car. I will help you send your friend back. Xia Qian wanted to object, but Jiang Zhao put his arm around Yi Er's shoulders and said to Shen Kai. Thank you, Inspector Shen. You are welcome. Xia Qian saw Jiang Zhao and did not dare to object. She wanted to ask Yi Er for help, but she noticed that Yi Er was focused on Jiang Zhao. She asked her husband if he was feeling unwell. Did he feel dizzy? Did he feel nauseous? Xia Qian was envious when she saw Yi Er helping Jiang Zhao into the car, starting the car and driving away. She wanted to drive like him one day. Xia Qian decided to make a big sacrifice today when Shen Kai was not paying attention. She stepped back secretly and ran to the road. She wanted to take a taxi back to the university town. Although it would cost a few dozen RMB, she had no choice. Shen Kai was handsome, but she would not think about those handsome guys she had offended before. She could think about them, but she could not get close to them. Although she had thought of begging God to return her peach blossoms to her, no matter how insensitive she was, she knew that handsome men might not necessarily be her peach blossoms. They might be her peach blossoms. Also, he might not be a suitor at all. If not, those tall and handsome male celebrities on TV would have already had an affair with her. Was it worth it for her to remain single? Therefore, although Shinkai was a man who was pleasing to the eye, he was also a petty man who was calculative in every aspect. He was a petty man who ate other people's cheers and ate his own heartache. Shinkai was definitely not a peach blossom. He was an oleander. The best way not to court death was to get out of here. Seeing the blue taxi with the green, empty car on the roof, she was so excited that she jumped up and down like a beautiful zombie in the middle of the night. She reached out and waved at the taxi. Screech, the brakes sounded. Just like Jiang Zhao's bus, a black Audi stopped in front of Xia Qian. Xia Qian looked at the car. She did not know if she could buy an Audi to drive when she became a host in the future. She did not want such an A6. If she wanted to buy one, she would buy the Q series. It was so beautiful. It must be very tasteful. How much money would it take for a host to buy a Q series car? How many years would it take? Was she going to take advantage of her sister again? That would not be good, right? She would feel bad asking her sister for money after she started working. It was okay. She could pay it back in the future. At most, she would pay it back for a few more years. She would not go back on her word. She would definitely pay it back before the child turned 5. Just like that, with a car parked in front of her, Xia Qian planned her life for the next 10 years. She even planned it with relish. While she was in a daze, the man's cheerful voice sounded in her ear. "Miss Xia, I'll give you a ride. Get in the car." Xia Qian suddenly came back to her senses. When she saw Shinkai smiling at her from the car, she shivered and took a step back. "Oh, it's not on the way. Sorry to trouble you, Mr. Shin." Xia Qian's intuition told her that Shinkai was not easy to deal with. Seeing that his smile was not innocent at all, she knew that he was definitely a bad person. She did not dare to offend the government. Jiang Zhao could make it impossible for her to get a driver's license in her lifetime. Would Shinkai make it impossible for her to get a driver's license in her next lifetime because of her rude words at night? The last person she should have known in her life was Yi Er. If she did not know Yi Er, she would not have frightened Jiang Zhao to the point of being afraid of a rope that was not a snake just because he took her in a car. If she was not frightened by Jiang Zhao, she would not have been so afraid of a prosecutor's office. Shinkai held the steering wheel with one hand and rested the other on the window. His index finger was curled and tapped on the window occasionally. When he shrugged, he raised his eyebrows and smiled mischievously. Xia Qian thought, look, this is the rotten member of the parents' team. Of course, he would be right after checking. She had never seen such a prosecutor. Therefore, when Shinkai's next sentence came out, it made her go crazy. "It's on the way. I feel that any place in High City is on the way. You want to go somewhere else? Do you want me to send you to the train station or the airport?" Xia Qian smiled, but it was not very natural. She zipped up her khaki cotton jacket and rubbed her hands. Actually, Mr. Shen, you don't have to be so gentlemanly. I can take a taxi." "Is that so? I don't have to be a gentleman." "Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to care about me. You can go first." Actually, it was not that she did not want to save money. If Yi Er was here, she would definitely save on the travel expenses today. However, Yi Er was not here, so she had no choice. As soon as she finished speaking, Shinkai opened the door and got out of the car. After getting out of the car, he did not close the door of the driver's seat. Instead, he grabbed the clothes behind Xia Qian's back and lifted them up. Shinkai was tall. Xia Qian originally thought that with Jiang Zhao, Qin Fian, Zhuang Yichen, Zhua Hao, and Shinkai, they could form a modeling team. They would definitely be popular. However, she was not tall, only about 1.6 meters. She was not even as tall as Yi. She also did not like to wear high heels. When Shinkai grabbed the clothes behind her back, she felt like she was being lifted up. She was like a little chick being lifted up. Hey, 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 what are you doing? Let go of me. This lift made her chest feel uncomfortable. God, she would have to stop developing for many days again. It was too cruel. I'm not a gentleman anymore, girl. After saying that, Shinkai opened the back door and threw Xia Qian in. You'd better not run outside. Otherwise. He paused. You know that I'm not a gentleman anymore. When he repeated this sentence, Xia Qian took a deep breath. Shinkai slammed the back door and slowly returned to his seat. He started driving. Train station or airport? Crematorium. Xia Qian said angrily. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 560. Okay. Shinkai's car drove onto the main road. As he drove, he began to tell ghost stories with great interest. When he told the story, he used the tone of a good man who respected women. Miss Xia, do you know that the crematorium in High City used to be at Mount Numinous? Xia Qian was a little dumb. When she was dumb, she felt that she was very brave. The car was not bad, just a little better than hers. I don't know. He held the steering wheel with ease and turned off the FM radio in the car. The talk show was in high spirits. When Shinkai spoke, he paused from time to time, which had an effect of increasing suspense. It unconsciously made people tense up and their hair stand on end. Because it rained once, High City was haunted. It was on the main road that we are on now. After 12 o'clock, a child saw that the road was densely packed with people. Shinkai glanced at the rearview mirror and saw Li Hua's face in the back seat. She swallowed her saliva and continued, but none of the drivers saw that scene. If there were children in the car, they would have been so scared that they would have screamed, "Someone's been hit. There's a car crash." A lot of people were sent flying. The adults thought that he was talking nonsense and got out of the car. The cars in front also stopped and children got out of the car. All the children began to cry, saying that a lot of people were coming and there was blood everywhere. Xia Qian grabbed the pillar under Shinkai's seat. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's go another way. Aren't you going to the crematorium? This road leads to the crematorium. That night, a lot of children saw people who adults couldn't see walking towards Mount Numinous. No, Mr. Shen, I want to go back to the university town. I don't want to go to the crematorium. Ha! Shinkai tapped the steering wheel slowly, smiling bitterly. Even the words that came out of his mouth were bitter. I'm in a difficult position now. Xia Qian wished that she could jump out of the car right now, because as long as she sat in the car, she could feel that there was a child sitting in front of her. This child kept yelling, "There are so many people in front, so many people, 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 crashed into people, so many people, so many people. To Spirit Mountain, 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 Spirit Endure. After shivering for a moment, he asked, "Why is it so difficult?" Shinkai sighed softly. The car moved forward at a moderate speed. Before you got on the car, you told me that I don't need to be a gentleman. Now I'm following your wishes. Or do I not want to listen to you? If I listened to you, I would be a gentleman. But if I disobeyed your request before you got on the car, I was still not a gentleman. If I don't listen to you, I won't be a gentleman. But if I fulfill your wish before you get on the train, I'll be a gentleman again. This really puts me in a dilemma. It's very difficult to be a person. Damn you. Xia Qian didn't curse out loud. This was clearly a very simple question. Why did it become a question of whether the chicken or the egg came first when it came out of his mouth? Shin Kai looked at the twitching expression of a certain someone behind him in the rearview mirror. The corners of his mouth twitched, and he smiled evilly. The court suit looked like something an honest person would wear. But when he wore it, he didn't look like an honest person at all. Especially when he smiled at a time like this, the clothes didn't look honest at all. Yi Er drove the car. She was a little worried that Jiang Zhao would cause trouble for her. It was so late at night, but he didn't react at all. He didn't lose his temper at all. She felt that Jiang Zhao's temper couldn't be like this because Jiang Zhao was a state official and she was a commoner. In order to not let the atmosphere cool down and burn her, Yi Er kept trying to find a topic to talk about. Hubby, how can a person like Shin Kai sneak into the procuratorate? One look and you can tell that he's not a good person. Jiang Zhao's first reaction when he turned around was, did Shin Kai provoke you? Ah. Yi Er seemed to have been hit by a stick. I don't think he looked at you much at night. What's wrong? Did he provoke you? Jiang Zhao's tone was a little harsh. Shin Kai even praised her for being beautiful. Could it be that the hooligan molested her with his eyes? How dare he? What was going on recently? He had only been out for a few days, but he had attracted so many admirers. No, no. Yi Er thought to herself that she was looking for trouble when she had nothing to do. Her husband was now in a sensitive period. Mentioning men was provoking her. I think he looks very cunning. He doesn't look like a gentleman like you. Ha, honey, do you have to add the word like in front of a gentleman? It wouldn't be good if I didn't add it, right? Yi Er felt that if she didn't add the word like, she would be letting herself and the people who had been tricked by Jiang Zhao. Ha, good, good, good. Jiang Zhao laughed continuously. Yi Er relaxed a little. Since he was laughing so happily, he shouldn't cause trouble for her tonight, right? Was today's matter considered over? Why didn't he hide it? Isn't he afraid that people will say that he's a hooligan? Him. What's there to hide in front of me? It's not like I've known him for the first time. Jiang Zhao raised his hands and rested them on the back of his head. His eyes were looking at the complicated night lights in front of him. He was originally a hooligan from a wealthy family since he was young. He caused trouble everywhere. His father forced him to study law in order to instill the idea that hitting people is against the law in him. He can be considered the representative of a prodigal son turning over a new leaf in our group. God! Isn't this a scourge on society? No wonder Shin Kai didn't avoid the taboo when he spoke. He was a little arrogant. It turned out that it was a habit from when he was young. What scourge on society? Our group is all grown up. Who still causes trouble everywhere like when we were young? It's not like we're brainless people for the rest of our lives. Jiang Zhao glanced at the woman who kept talking and was about to say something after she finished her sentence. He sneered, Yunyi, don't you think you owe me an explanation for the 15 yuan haircut today? Yi Er's hands tightened on the steering wheel. She swallowed her saliva. Give me an explanation. You're not Qiu Ju. You have grievances to complain about. Why do you need an explanation? But she didn't dare to talk back to Jiang Zhao. Her eyes darted around. She turned the steering wheel to the right and stepped on the brakes. After parking the car, her nose twitched and the corners of her mouth collapsed. She leaned over the steering wheel and began to sob. I was scared to death by him today. I was scared to death. I was afraid of embarrassing myself with Xia Qian around. I didn't even dare to say that I was scared. Sob, sob, sob. Jiang Zhao raised his head. Jiang Zhao swore to himself that he would never pay attention to Yi Er's petty tricks again. He saw it clearly. It was a petty trick. That's enough. Jiang Zhao couldn't keep a straight face at this time. His voice was deliberately cold. She probably missed the best time to quarrel. Many things happened in between, so she didn't have a chance to put the flint paper on the flint. That's why she ended up like this. Looking at her fake crying face, he knew he couldn't get angry. Yi Er refused to look up. Once she did, he knew she was faking it. I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I don't want to go. I want to learn how to dance. Jiang Zhao sneered disdainfully. You can cause so much trouble with a pile of papers. If you learn how to dance all day long, what trouble will you cause? Jiang Zhao decided not to fall for Yi Er's tricks. She was getting more and more wild. She had gotten her way once or twice, but she used this method every time. Did she really think it would work? If you cry again, I'll throw you out of the car. Yi Er leaned on the steering wheel and stopped crying. What did he mean? Did he hate her? In the past, when she threw tantrums, he would still coax her. Be good, be good. Now, he actually said he would throw her out of the car. She was his legal wife. Their marriage certificate was stamped with a steel seal. How dare he say he would throw her out of the car? Didn't he see who was sitting in the driver's seat? Who was the boss? So what if he was tall? So what if he was handsome? So what if his father was rich? So what if his father was powerful? So what if he had status, and votes? Humph. Yi Er raised her head. Her eyes were dry and dry. She stared at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao wanted to laugh, but he only made a tisk sound. She was indeed faking it. Yi Er felt that she was at an age where loyalty was high. How could she be so cowardly? When the tisk sound came from Jiang Zhao's mouth, Yi Er's heart was burning with anger. She wanted to win a round for herself. Therefore, before Jiang Zhao could finish his sentence, "Little fox, all you know is to act all day long," he had not said it out loud. The car was followed by a vroom of the accelerator. You're cold. It shot out like a bolt from a bow. Although Yi Er had more experience than her peers and appeared to be more mature, she was at an age where she was full of youthful energy. It was inevitable that she would feel uneasy. Moreover, she was not as afraid of Jiang Zhao as before. That was why she was so bold right now. Jiang Zhao was sitting in the car when he suddenly felt a push from behind. His body moved back and forth rapidly as if he had hit a wall. He immediately reached out to grab the handle of the car roof. Yunyi, what are you doing? Humph, what am I doing? If you don't admit your mistake today, I won't let you off. Why would I admit my mistake? Don't you know what you did wrong? Yi Er said angrily. She stepped on the accelerator and released it at times. Jiang Zhao had drunk some wine that night. Sitting in the car now, he felt extremely uncomfortable being pushed and pulled by someone. Yi Er's car was like a nimble snake, shuttling through one road after another. In order to avoid or prevent a rear-end collision, Yi Er quickly braked and sped up. She did not care about the feelings of the beautiful man sitting beside her. The car was headed towards the seaside bridge. Yunyi. Are you crazy? Do you have to drive like this in the city? I like to drive like this. What can you do about it? Didn't you say it already? What's yours is mine. Then I have a share in this car. Besides, I'm the one driving now. I can drive however I want. Mind your own business. Jiang Zhao felt that something was wrong. Did the little fox become a little female leopard? He admitted his mistake. What mistake did he make? Shouldn't he be the one to admit his mistake today? You're asking me to admit my mistake. I haven't asked you to admit your mistake yet. If it weren't for your indecent behavior outside all day long, would you have provoked that 250? If I can provoke them, it means that I'm charming. What? You're not convinced? Yi Er was going all out. She did not care anymore. He was going to throw her out of the car. She was going to make him roll out of the car today. Did he really want to pull out all her claws and teeth? Forget it for the sake of it. Did he dare to do it for real? If he really dared to be so ruthless, she would definitely not let him off easily. Jiang Zhao immediately became spirited, and the smell of alcohol wafted up. Yo! Did he hear wrongly? Did he hear wrongly? What did this little wench just say? She said that 250 provoked her because she was charming. What? She still thought that this was a good thing. An amazing good thing. Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 561. Today it was 250, tomorrow it would be 350, and the day after tomorrow it would be 450. Even washing, cutting, and drying would develop into blow-drying and dyeing. Charm. Little wench, you still dare to say that today's matter is due to your charm? What? Of course, someone likes you when you go to a new place. You must be envious and jealous, right? You don't take me seriously, but others see me as rare. Who do you think you are? So what? You don't like me, but there are many people who like me. Hey! Jiang Zhao swallowed his saliva. Little wench, was she deliberately angering him? Yun Yi. Stop the car and pull over. You have to make it clear to me today. If you don't, you're not allowed to go back. No way. I won't stop. If you have the guts, jump out of the car if you have the guts. Yi Er drove the car onto the seaside bridge. It was winter now, so she couldn't roll down the car window to feel the cool breeze on the river like in summer. However, even if it was summer now, she wasn't in the mood. Logically speaking, Yi Er shouldn't have quarreled with Jiang Zhao at this time. After all, Jiang Zhao had drunk some baijiu at night and instinctively minded the fact that a man was close to her. At this time, he was easily provoked by her, and his anger soared to the sky. There was no way to stop him. He suddenly thought of his passion going down the drain. He then thought of how she was heartless and only knew how to use him. He then thought of how he was sincerely looking out for her good. All of a sudden, he felt all kinds of unbalanced. Whether it was resentment, jealousy, or anger, with a hua sound, the flames of anger were pulled up high. What? You're asking me to jump out of the car? Yun Yi, are you King trying to murder your husband? You can't wait for me to die. Isn't that right? Humph. Yi Er thought to herself. You still want to throw me out of the car? If you have the guts, then jump. Why are you asking so many questions? Good on you, Yun Yi. You little fox grew up eating red crane's crown. You're so poisonous. Yi Er deliberately overtook and gave way to the car from time to time. The tempo of the speed change became faster and faster, especially when she saw Jiang Zhao frowning because of the uneven speed of the car. He looked like he was about to throw up. She felt even better. She no longer remembered that she should be concerned about her husband's health. At this moment, she only wanted to take revenge. She wanted to take revenge on him for casually saying that he would abandon her. On the seaside bridge, there was not much traffic, but the speed was very fast. After crossing the bridge and driving for a few more kilometers, they would be out of Sea City. Yi Er was wild. The rebellious nature that she had been hiding in her bones for a long time was completely unleashed tonight. She was fearless, unwelcoming, and unfathomable. What she had was the youthful vigor of an eye for an eye. She was about to turn 20 years old. In the season of winter, she should burn all of her personality until it was burning red. Only then would she be satisfied. On the speedometer on the highway, the needle on the speedometer went up by a tick. Jiang Zhao was furious. Yun Yi, Slow down. No reduction. Reduce. No reduction. Apologize to me. If you apologize to me, I'll reduce. Jiang Zhao did not know where he had gone wrong. His mind was in a mess because of the love affair between a man and a woman. At this moment, they were like two stones in a cesspool. Both smelly and hard. Both of them were smelly and hard. Neither of them was willing to lower their heads. Although the man's voice was unusually furious, he still maintained his male chauvinism. His head was tilted up, and the veins on his forehead were throbbing. The words that came out of his mouth were like steel beams falling on a person, heavy and painful. Fine. If you have the guts, drive to 180. At this point, there are trailers everywhere. If you crash into them and die, everything will be over. Yunyi, if you have the guts, then step on the gas pedal to the limit. Push it above 180, push it to 200. If you see any trailers, then crash into them. If you don't crash into them, you're a coward. Jiang Zhao had drunk, but Yi Er did not. When Yi Er provoked Jiang Zhao, he could make Jiang Zhao more and more confused, but Jiang Zhao's sword was fast enough and vicious enough to kill in one strike. He did not talk to you about whose fault it was. He also did not talk to you about what was wrong with you. He just told you to crash into them. If you see any cars, then crash into them. If you don't crash into them, then you're a coward. Coward. Coward? If you crash into them, even if you're not a coward, you'll only become a pile of meat. Yi Er, who was sober, slowly eased off the gas pedal. Coincidentally, there was a highway exit. He drove down the road, past the toll booth, and turned into Yang County. Yang County. She knew this place. The last time Jiang Zhao went on a business trip to Yang County, she had found out about it and followed him here. The car stopped by the roadside. Jiang Zhao rolled down the car window, but the wind did not help. He opened the car door, got out of the car, and squatted by the roadside to vomit. Yi Er's sense of revenge slowly disappeared. After the two of them had a hysterical argument, she felt guilty when she saw Jiang Zhao's pale face vomiting after getting out of the car. She walked over and squatted down to pat his back. She did not wear a thick jacket. She did not expect to stay outside so late at night. She did not expect the temperature to drop at night, so she felt a little cold. Jiang Zhao did not wear much either. He wore the same clothes he wore to work in the day. He wore a shirt and a suit with a sweater in the middle. As the cold wind blew, he felt even dizzier. Jiang Zhao felt like his stomach was about to flip out from Yi Er's driving skills. When Yi Er reached out to touch his back, he slapped her hand away in annoyance. Yi Er was not too happy either. However, even though she was unhappy, she could not really leave him alone. She could not be like him, who casually said that he wanted to throw her out of the car. She took a few pieces of tissue from the car and bent down again. She tilted her head to look for his face. When she found his face, she stretched the tissue over and wiped the stain from the corner of his mouth. The man's features were well defined. His handsome brows were tightly knitted, expressing his poor condition. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er coldly from the corner of his eyes. The more he looked, the angrier he got. She actually dared to say that there were many people who liked her. Her hair was tied into a knot on the top of her head. She was just a little girl. She had clearly said that she would be with him. She had never worn colors like red or green. Now, she was dressed up so young. Who was she trying to impress? Making him vomit? Fine, she did it on purpose. Did she think that he did not know? Come here. Jiang Zhao said softly. At this moment, the night wind started to blow. Yi Er was so cold that she was shivering. This was the road into Yang County. They were just 1 kilometer away from the city. However, it was the suburbs after all. This place felt a little desolate. Yi Er squatted down and moved closer to Jiang Zhao. She did not act like a little pug and shamelessly call him hubby like in the past. She just moved closer. Jiang Zhao took a deep breath. His handsome face was expressionless. Come closer. Yi Er pouted. She moved closer. She felt that since she had improved, she did not wag her tail and beg for pity. So what if she moved closer? What was there to be afraid of? The back of Yi Er's head was held. She was shocked. She looked at the man's eyes that were originally cold but were now unusually bright. She suddenly realized that this was not good. She wanted to break free and run. The man held the back of her head with one hand and her waist with the other. When he stood up, he pulled her up with him and pushed the car over. The door of the front passenger seat was not closed. The woman was controlled by his hand and pressed against the seat. Women who learned to dance were indeed different. Look at how soft her waist was. It was not strenuous for him to press her down. Yi Er looked at the man's mouth coming closer. She suddenly remembered that he had vomited earlier. Oh God, he had vomited. Her little head dodged left and right, but the undisciplined hand behind her head was too unruly and forcefully held her down. She could only clench her teeth and shut her lips tightly. She didn't even dare to scold anyone now. A crow would throw a piece of meat to a fox when it opened its mouth. Now that she opened her mouth, the fox would throw some minced meat to her to eat. It was even meat that had been digested in her stomach. It was not just meat. It was quite sumptuous. There was wine, meat, and even vegetables. Jiang Zhao was capable of doing this. She knew that the last time he was hospitalized, that meal was because he said that she disliked him and forced him to eat the soup in his mouth. Later on, if Papa did not come, he would definitely force her to eat the meat that he had chewed. When did this person change in his previous life? Could it be that he had a childhood shadow? Or did he meet with a huge setback in his life? Otherwise, how could he be so abnormal? There was a smell in her nose. That smell made her want to vomit. No matter how much she liked him, she did not like him kissing her after vomiting. But no matter how much she dodged, his mouth would still shamelessly come and eat her mouth. Thinking of that day when Fei Yan was forcefully kissed by Xia Qian. Oh God, how did Fei Yan not vomit? How could Fei Yan not vomit? Wasn't those minced meat disgusting? Jiang Zhao's tongue forcefully stuck out Yi Er's mouth. He did not believe it. She made him vomit, so it was natural for her to be taught a lesson. Let's see if she would dare to deliberately step on the brakes and the accelerator again next time. She could mess around, but not this kind of thing. But she could only mess around with him, like now, mess around. Yi Er knew that she could no longer hold it in, especially when Jiang Zhao's mouth that had just vomited a stomach full of filth was already biting her mouth. She could no longer hold it in. Her skin was thick, but her stomach was thin, very thin. Just a slight movement and it would cause a revolution for her. Ugh, she hiccuped. Hold on a little longer, hold on a little longer. The man's tongue had successfully reached her mouth, but at this time, she did not think of biting off his tongue. She still wanted to live with him. What if she bit off his tongue and became a mute? What would she do? Taking a step back, if she did not become a mute, what would she do if she became a big tongue? In the future, when she called Yun Yi, she would call him Luan Yi Lu. When she called Gugu, she would call him Duo Duo. When she called Papa, she would call him Da. She was finished. How could she still be the deputy mayor? Once she stepped down, her family would not be settled. What should she do? No. She could not do that. Yi Er realized that she was a person who knew what was right and wrong. She knew how to analyze the situation. But when she finished analyzing the situation, she realized that the man's tongue had already entered her mouth. It was as if he had never kissed her before. How good would it be if he had brushed his teeth before? Ugh, she hiccuped again. She could not hold on any longer. Especially when she thought about her fate, which was completely different from Wu Yu's. The thin-skinned Mr. Stomach finally wanted to rebel. Yi Er had thought that no matter what, she would not admit defeat today. She must return the favor. So, she used all her strength to grab the back of Jiang Zhao's head. She hiccuped for the third time. Ugh! When she hiccuped for the third time, Jiang Zhao suddenly felt something warm in his mouth. A lot of acidic liquid rushed into his mouth. Xia Qian could not argue with Shin Kai. But she had ways to deal with Qin Fian. She knew that Qin Fian was afraid that she would molest him. This was a fatal weakness. So, if she could not win against him, she would just stick to him and kiss him. He would definitely lose. Shin Kai was different. He was still fine when they were eating. But now, after they left Haiyu restaurant and got into the car, he was even more like a hooligan. If you dare to touch and kiss a hooligan like him, you can try it. Although her chest was not full. Fine, it was a little flat. Fu Li, Xinwu 799. Chapter 562. Although her chest was a bit flat, but for an outstanding girl like her, it was inevitable that men would treat her differently. If this hooligan were to take advantage of the situation, then she would really be careless and lose the Jingzhou. Xia Qian felt that she was pitiful. Even though she had dated a boyfriend in the past, she still knew a little about men. The men she knew were from books and classmates. The male students in her class were a little worried that she would fall in love with them and then become a bisexual. So, they tried to avoid her as much as possible. How sad and bitter was that? Xin Yuan, are you going to argue until dawn? Xia Qian obviously had no way to fight back. What could she do? If someone was put in a difficult position because of a question, it would be hard to tell whether the chicken or the egg came first. If they were to write a proof question, they could at least trace it back to an unknown era. Then, they would continue to argue until everyone was in their coffins, and there would still be two factions. Is there a need to argue until dawn? Keep driving and we'll reach Mount Lingshan. I'll come back after sending you to the crematorium. So you're saying that you're going to send me to the crematorium and not to send me back to school? Xia Qian felt that she should calm down at this time. This grandson wanted to argue with her. What did she learn? Media. The future top 10 best host, a rising star, sat in such a broken Audi and couldn't even win against a hooligan driving a broken Audi. How could she face the millions of viewers? How could she face the fans who had always supported her to success? It's okay. Let's go. I heard that there's nothing to be afraid of in places with strong yang energy. Xin Yuan, you're a man full of yang energy sitting in a car. What's there to be afraid of? You're not a person who's neither a man nor a woman. Even ghosts would be afraid of you. So after thinking about it, there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of. She could only lie to the ghost sisters and brothers on this road. In fact, she was scared to death. Shin Kai made a tisk sound. Strange, this girl was not so stupid now. Was she really pretending? I'm thirsty. I want to drink water. Xia Qian felt that she should stop the car and find a shop to buy a bottle of water. Then, she could see if there were any children around and let the children see if the road was full of people. Shin Kai said, turn your hand over. There's water on the shelf behind. Xia Qian lowered her head. I'm hungry. There are biscuits and bread on the shelf. Forget it, you drive. I'm going to take a nap. Xia Qian felt that she had thrown caution to the wind. She could only admit that she was unlucky to have met such a powerful young master. If he was going to mess with her no matter what and drag her to Mount Lingshan, then she could only make an appointment with the ghosts tonight. She could do an interview with them and ask them how their lives were like in the netherworld. She could get straight to the point and ask, Brother Ghost, are you happy? Then, Saturday. Did the King of Hell owe them their wages? Of their working hours? How much was the salary during the holidays? After all, the living standards in the mortal world had improved. The trend of aging was becoming more obvious. Business in the netherworld might not be so good. But now, medical accidents, car accidents, murder, drug abuse, eating oil, drinking a bottle of milk, and drinking water could all be fatal. Therefore, business in the underworld could also be very good. Xia Qian felt that the main content of the interview tonight should revolve around the livelihood of the people. After all, it was good that everyone was good. Shin Kai looked at the rearview mirror. She really fell asleep. When he mentioned it just now, she was so scared and clutched the thin pillar behind his head. Wasn't this speed of calmness a little too fast? How was her brain made? God! Her breathing was even. Just how heartless was she to be like this? Jiang Zhao and Yi Er squatted by the roadside. They were vomiting, but they still continued. How did that song go? Have you ever disgusted me? Have I ever disgusted you? Being with disgusting friends is happier than anything else. Jiang Zhao thought that he had enough stamina, but he didn't expect Yi Er to vomit everything into his mouth. This bag was all wrapped up and he almost swallowed it. After the two of them finished vomiting, they went to the trunk to rinse their mouths. Yi Er didn't feel disgusted anymore. She remembered what happened last time. This time, she felt that she had to give Jiang Zhao a good psychological lesson. She raised her mouth and spat out the water in her mouth. After a few times, she said to Jiang Zhao, what do you mean? Didn't you say that I shouldn't be disgusted? Didn't you say that you were going to chew meat and vegetables and spit them into my mouth last time? Why can't you accept the food I chewed today? Are you disgusted with me? How can that be the same? After you chewed and swallowed, it's sour now. When I chewed and spit it out for you, it was fresh and not expired. Even if you can't live on, you won't have to eat expired food in the future, right? Jiang Zhao said with a face that said, that's the truth. Yi Er sighed. God, forgive me. I really can't argue with him. I can only lose. Jiang Zhao was almost sober. He slowly started to think about what happened just now. He got into the car and said, let's go find something to eat. I'm hungry. You ate so much of my expired food and you're still hungry? Ha! Jiang Zhao didn't answer. He closed his eyes and rested. As he rested, the corners of his mouth curved slightly. He was blatantly telling Yi Er that he was up to something. Yang County was located on the outskirts of Haicheng, but it was also Haicheng's harem. Many rich people in Haicheng would buy villas in Yang County to avoid the summer heat. It was really comfortable. Yang County had been developing tourism, so there were many local specialties. Of course, many of them were fake. People said in skits, the taste is very good, but it's too little. However, there were some snacks in Yang County that were advertised a lot, but the taste is really bad. Almost all the tourist cities in the country had their own antique street. It was called Imitation Antique Street, and there were many snacks. Yi Er sat in front of a small square table with red lanterns hanging on the street like a festival. She looked around at the green bricks and gray tiles without much interest. She poked the glutinous rice cake in front of her with a thin skewer and looked at the barbecue in front of Jiang Zhao. She swallowed her saliva. She had chosen the glutinous rice cake herself. She had never eaten it before and wanted to try it. After trying it, she felt that it wasn't good and wanted to change. Jiang Zhao said, honey, you don't know how hard it is to earn money. It's shameful to waste a single cent, shameful. He knew how to be shameful. Therefore, the woman who lived off a man could only put the glutinous rice cake in front of her and poke it, drooling as she looked at her husband's barbecue. Jiang Zhao ate with relish. As he ate, he said to Yi Er, actually, no matter how bad this glutinous rice cake is, you chose it yourself. If you throw it away, you'll be throwing money away. So, you have to eat it. That's how you're responsible for it. But I don't want to be responsible for it. I want to be responsible for the barbecue in front of you, Yi Er said with a pout. Yunyi, you're a classic example of eating what's in the bowl but looking at what's in the pot. Xia Qian is right. Jiang Zhao looked very serious, but his eyes were a little sly. Both of them were tall. When they sat at the stall to eat barbecue, they had to bend down. Otherwise, it would be easy for the cumin to fall on their clothes. Yi Er looked up at Jiang Zhao. At that time, she thought that he didn't hear her. She didn't expect him to hear her. Xia Qian, this rascal, really wanted to kill her. She cursed that rascal to be scared to death by a ghost. Since when did I eat from the pot but look at the bowl? Hubby, Xia Qian is slandering me. Yi Er finally gave in. Whenever she called him hubby, she either gave in or had other motives. At least most of the time. Jiang Zhao ordered another bottle of herbal tea. He never liked to eat food with strong flavors. It wasn't because it tasted bad. In the end, it was because he was vain and was afraid of getting pimples. He wouldn't tell Yi Er this reason. It was okay to eat it occasionally. It was fine to drink some herbal tea to relieve the heat. He took the herbal tea from the stall owner and rummaged through Yi Er's bag for a pack of tissues. He took out a piece of tissue and wiped the noodles for a while. Then, he began the formal ideological education lesson for tonight. Yunyi, you said that you didn't eat from the bowl but look at the pot. I promise I didn't. Then what did you say in the car just now? You said that there are many people out there who want you. Jiang Zhao had sobered up at this time. He was very gentlemanly and wasn't sulking. He smiled and spoke patiently. However, Yi Er felt that there was a needle hidden in cotton. It was very insidious. After taking a sip of the herbal tea, Jiang Zhao continued to eat the barbecue as if nothing had happened. He left Yi Er alone to poke the glutinous rice cake even more. She stuttered and didn't know how to explain the situation to Jiang Zhao. She did say something like that. She didn't do anything wrong, right? This is not the same as what you said at the beginning. This is not eating from the bowl but looking at the pot. I don't accept this kind of slander. Slander? Jiang Zhao was eating the barbecue, but his movements were very elegant. He put the bamboo skewer horizontally to the side of his mouth and bit off a piece of meat. He took the skewer away and chewed the meat. However, the way he chewed was so good that even young girls would turn around to look. The tourist street was a little better. There were few locals. Not many locals would go to Fangu Street to eat barbecue. It was expensive and might not be as delicious as the stalls outside the neighborhood. Then do you dare to say that you didn't say those words? I said it. You think that there are people out there who want you. You are very proud, you are very impressive, and you are very proud. You want to spread this kind of arrogance, and finally achieve the effect of arrogance. Am I right? No. No. Why did you ask me so arrogantly if I am convinced? Jiang Zhao was still smiling. He felt that he couldn't use violence on this little wife for the time being. He had to be gentler. Therefore, when he smiled, his eyes were really gentle. Wife, how do you think I am convinced? Should I compete with you to see who has more admirers outside? Yi Er was completely convinced. Could she compare with him? How many people wanted to climb into his bed? It also depended on whether he wanted it or not. Not everyone was as good as the Ouyang Yan and as elegant as the Ouyang Yan. I said those words out of anger. Words out of anger? Yes, who asked you to say that you wanted to throw me out of the car? Ah. This time, it was Jiang Zhao's turn to be stunned. He said that he wanted to throw her out of the car. When Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao's shock, she knew that she had hit the snake's body. She wasn't too sure. I was just angry at that time. You were fine, but you actually said that you wanted to throw me out of the car. I am your wife. If you throw me out of the car, where do you want me to go? Ad, Xinwu 799. Chapter 563. Yi Er's eyes reddened as she spoke. She lowered her head and continued to poke the glutinous rice cake. You drank, and I kept asking you how you were. I was afraid that you would be upset, so I kept talking to you. In the end, you treated me like this. You threw me away just because you were unhappy. I'm not a stray cat. I have a marriage certificate. Yi Er's voice became softer and softer, like a mosquito. At this time, she was not pretending to be pitiful. She really felt that she was quite pitiful. The more she was like this, the more unwilling she was to raise her head and let Jiang Zhao look into her eyes. When she was pretending, she could not wait for him to see her misery. Now, she was afraid that he would think that she was in a sorry state. A stainless steel plate wrapped in a food bag was pushed in front of her. The pork ribs are not bad. Have some. It's a pity to throw away the things you bought. Let me eat the glutinous rice cake. The man's voice was surprisingly gentle. Yi Er's nose twitched. She raised her head and happened to see her husband's handsome eyebrows and starry eyes. When he smiled, his eyes were filled with gentle moonlight. He did not apologize to her, nor did he say sorry. However, his actions had already said everything. Oh, I'm afraid you'll gain weight. It's better not to eat it. I'll buy you millet porridge later. It's lighter. The man dragged the stainless steel plate back and turned to the boss. Bill. Jiang Zhao. You bastard. Yi Er felt that her nose was sore for nothing. It was really for nothing. It was not worth it at all. Yi Er's scolding was reasonable because the man had just told her that it was shameful to waste a single cent. However, he threw the unfinished barbecue into the trash can beside him. He would not let her eat it even if he threw it into the trash can. This bastard. Yi Er kept sulking with Jiang Zhao. It was already late at night, especially in winter. There were fewer and fewer people outside. There were not many people. The traffic police had also gotten off work at this time. Jiang Zhao's smell of alcohol dissipated, so he drove himself and let Yi Er sit beside him. Yi Er was angry. She sat in the back and did not sit in the same row as Jiang Zhao. The car stopped at the Sheraton Hotel. Jiang Zhao got out of the car, opened Yi Er's door, and pulled her out. As soon as they entered the hotel, Yi Er lowered his head. This was the place where she had taken off his clothes and taken photos of him. Jiang Zhao took the room card and held Yi Er's hand as they walked towards the elevator. Tonight, we'll stay in the room where we had sex last time. Yi Er had been sulking at first, but now he did not dare to be angry anymore. He laughed dryly and said, "You're so vengeful." Ha, not only that. I am the type to seek revenge for the smallest grievance. The elevator door opened with a ding sound. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er into the elevator and pressed 17 again. Yi Er frowned. The 17th floor of the Sheraton Hotel was not a guest room. At that time, in order to follow him, she had investigated the hotel he was staying at. The elevator door opened again, and when they came out, they found that they were in the F&B department. Yi Er was very satisfied as he ate the Cantonese supper in front of him. Yi Er immediately put aside their previous grudges and expressed goodwill to Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao could only sigh and shake his head. There was nothing he could do about her. Her little face was like the weather in March, changing at will. Wind came and rain came, and then after a while, it would be fine and sunny again. There was no pattern to it at all. He took a tissue and wiped the sauce on the corner of her mouth. Eat slowly. Why are you always like this? You should eat properly. When he spoke, he did not sound like he was reprimanding her at all. Instead, it sounded like he was indulging her. Yi Er picked up a piece of soft pork rib and threw it into her mouth. She quickly separated the meat from the bone and spat out the bone on the side plate in front of her. She wrinkled her nose and said, "I'm so hungry." You kept eating, but I didn't eat at all. At that moment, a man appeared at the entrance of the restaurant. He was wearing a large brimmed hat that covered most of his face. He held a camera in his hand and pointed it at the seemingly loving couple. He quickly pressed the button to take photos. 1 photo, 2 photos, 3 photos, asterisk asterisk asterisk. Qin Fian had been eyeing this plot of land for a long time. Even though he had given up on the competition due to the official report from the relevant department, it did not mean that he did not care about this plot of land. Even if he did not care, the shareholders would care about it. When he saw that the most successful bidder was Shi Empire's shares, Qin Fian sat in his office chair and did not speak for a long time. It was already past midnight. Ever since his secretary delivered this document to him, he had not cracked a joke. The secretary also did not dare call him handsome anymore. The glasses that perched on his nose had been tossed onto the table. The coldness that shone out from his beautiful phoenix eyes was rather eerie. The Shi family was interested in building a coating factory. That kind of business was not profitable, and the workers would be punished for doing toxic work. Did the Shi family look like someone who would do such a low-end business? The Shi family really had run out of ways to make money. They needed to build a factory and make a profit of a few million a year or even less. A few million? This joke was not funny at all. The price of this piece of land was now like a cabbage. A cabbage, and a rotten cabbage at that. Buying a rotten cabbage at a time when land prices were as high as gold. The reason Qin Fian could not bring himself to laugh was because he felt like he had been tricked. The years he had been in business had been too smooth. The Qin family's influence in Sea City was too big. Furthermore, he had his uncle and cousin, and he was a careful and courageous person. It was rare for him to suffer such a loss. Not only had he been made a fool of, but he had also been made a fool of. It was not surprising that the Shi family did not know about his involvement in the plot of land acquisition. However, if the Shi family really did bribe the experts and related departments to falsify the geological report, what did that mean? The Shi family's influence was no longer limited to the business world. It had only been 2 years in Sea City, but their influence had already reached into the business world. This was a dangerous signal. Qin Fian reminded himself that he had to stay calm and not jump to conclusions. He propped himself up on the table and pressed the line of his secretary, who was also working overtime with him. "Beauty, come in for a moment." After a while, the secretary walked in. She stood in place and twisted her waist seductively. "Handsome, what can I do for you?" He put on his glasses with a smile. The image of a handsome and refined man came alive. "Beauty, you were the one who brought me the newspaper about the water quality of the plot of land 326, have you verified its authenticity?" "I thought." The secretary could not move her waist anymore, and she could not smile anymore. When the boss spoke with a cold smile, it meant that the problem was very serious. I thought that the information released by the authoritative department was trustworthy." "Trustworthy?" Qin Fian sighed. "Forget it, it's pointless to talk about this now. There won't be a next time." Seeing the secretary nod hurriedly, Qin Fian added, "Now go and verify the Shi family's connections. Do not leak this information." Yi drank a mouthful of soup and couldn't eat anymore. Jiang Xiao said that she shouldn't eat supper, but it was useless. Yi persisted until she couldn't eat anymore. Only then did she say, "I'm so full. I'm not eating anymore." Jiang Xiao called the waiter over to pay the bill. After the bill was paid, Jiang Xiao stood up. Yi walked up to him and held his arm. Jiang Xiao whispered into her ear, "You're so full. You'll need to digest it later." The man in the hat at the entrance put the card machine into his pocket and turned to leave. Yi was pressed down on the bed by Jiang Xiao. She placed her hands on his shoulders. "I'm so full, hubby. I'm so full. I can't do strenuous exercise after a meal." "It's okay, I'll move, you won't. I didn't eat just now." Yi really felt like she was too full to exercise. "You should wake up after a nap." Jiang Xiao slowly pulled Yi's clothes. He pulled them open and tossed them off the bed one by one. "Little fox, tell me, how did you take off my clothes?" Yi felt like there was nothing to hide now. Yes. Zhengling and I did it together. You were too heavy. I did it alone. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao's face that was getting more and more tense. She closed her eyes and said in one breath, I couldn't take it off alone. You were sleeping too soundly. He was not sleeping soundly, he was probably drugged too hard. Did Zhengling touch me too? Jiang Zhao frowned. He had actually been touched by two women at the same time. He was not meat placed in a stall in the market. I didn't touch you. I just accidentally touched you. Accidentally? Yes. For example, when I was unbuttoning my shirt, or when I was taking off my sleeves with one hand, or when I was trying to pose for you. I was careless. Yi Er smiled embarrassedly, trying to avoid Jiang Zhao's eyes. Then what does it mean when you're careless? The man's voice was slow and slow. When you're taking photos, she won't touch you. Do I need you to teach me? If she can reach out and touch me when I'm taking photos, she'll be awesome. Jiang Zhao thought about those photos and his eyes flashed. Then he sighed. Yunyi, to make up for the hurt you caused to my heart. Now that he thought about it, wasn't it hurt? She had stripped him naked at that time, so why couldn't she have any other thoughts? How could she just take a photo and leave? She even helped him put on his clothes before leaving. How embarrassing was that for him? She should look at him, his body, and then fantasize about him, wait for him to slowly wake up, and then, in any case, it wasn't the first time she was so pure. She was always looking down on his charm. When Yi Er heard this, he knew it was over. There was no good outcome if the past was brought up again. Hurt. Forcing her. She was just short of succeeding in forcing her to do so. However, when such a matter was brought up, it was not pleasant. Who would be willing to be plotted against? Moreover, it was a man like him. Yi Er stuttered as she asked, how can you make it up to me? Yi Er wanted to move away. She was really uncomfortable being pressed down. Hey, let's recreate the scene. Yi Er's eyes lit up. He looked at the face in front of him with a lewd smile. Bastard! What did he say? Recreate the scene. It's so late, the woman objected. It's a holiday tomorrow. Si Jie has his father with him. We've already called him a few times. Don't worry, we can sleep in tomorrow, the man insisted. Yi Er found many excuses, but they were all rejected. I'm very full now. I really don't want to move. I'll let you move if you're full. Digest it. I'm so sleepy now. I want to sleep. But I'm not sleepy now. Husband and wife have to advance and retreat together. You can't leave me alone to dream. This sentence moved Yi Er. Hence, under the man's almost pure guidance, Yi Er began to recreate the scene. She opened the room card and entered the room sneakily. Then, she stood by the bed and bent down to take off the clothes of the man who was pretending to be a dead pig. She complained a little, hubby, even if the scene is recreated, you don't have to be so heavy. After all, I'm alone now. Zheng Ling helped me at that time. Awesome novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 564. Jiang Zhao cooperated and shifted his back. He lifted it slightly and lay flat again. Yi Er was discouraged. How can you be like this? Jiang Zhao closed his eyes innocently and said, wasn't I drugged? How can I move when I'm drugged? You're so childish. Yi Er wanted to raise a fist as big as a sandbag and punch him. Childish? Who was the childish one to play like this? She looked at her own fist. It was a far cry from a sandbag, so she gave up on the idea of using violence. As he was taking off his clothes, Jiang Zhao narrowed his eyes and looked at Yi Er. What did you say at the time? You had to put it in the scene. Yi Er sneered in her heart. Did she look as stupid as Xia Qian? Why would she find herself such a job? We didn't say anything at the time. Jiang Zhao opened his eyes, but he was still lying on the bed with his clothes on. There was a rare childishness in his eyes. You didn't say anything? That's impossible. You're too irresponsible. You're still trying to lie to me at a time like this. Can't you satisfy my curiosity? Let me tell you, Yi Er, you haven't told me clearly about the washing, cutting, and blow-drying. F***ck. Yi Er glared at Jiang Zhao. Who said that women were the most troublesome? Who said that? Who said that? Just drag him out and chop him up. Succumbing to Jiang Zhao's threats and promises, Yi Er only remembered afterward that she wasn't much better than Xia Qian. After all, Jiang Zhao was unconscious at that time. Even if she made up stories, he wouldn't know. The most stupid person in the world was Xia Qian. She was the second most stupid person. If she claimed to be the third most stupid person, no one would dare to claim to be the second most stupid person. Hence, even though she was the second most stupid person, she had one more stupid person than Xia Qian. She was so stupid. As she unbuttoned her shirt, she started to focus on the couple scene. After unbuttoning the first button, she said in detail, "Ling Ling, help me. My hands are shaking. I can't undo it." She imagined that Zheng Ling would pull her away the moment he came up to her. She lowered her voice slightly and pretended to be Zheng Ling. "Go away. Look at you. Handsome man. Don't you know what handsome man is? You're so slow in taking off a handsome man's clothes, what a good-for-nothing." At the time, Yi Er heard Zheng Ling's provocation and quickly chased Zheng Ling away. He said stubbornly, Okay, I'll do it. He's almost 30 years old, and you're calling him a handsome man? What kind of taste do you have? Zheng Ling fiddled with the camera and began to press the shutter at the side. After pressing a picture, he looked at the display screen and adjusted the parameters according to the light source in the room. Men have 31 flowers. Don't you know? Yi Er undid all the buckles for Jiang Zhao and called for Zheng Ling, "Come and help me remove it. It's too heavy. It's as heavy as a pig." Zheng Ling put the camera at the end of the bed and worked with Yi Er, who had already climbed onto the bed to push Jiang Zhao, to take off his shirt. Pig. Have you ever seen such a strong pig? Is a pig's meat so tight? Is a pig so handsome? Handsome? He's just an old man. What's so handsome about him? Jiang Zhao took off his shirt and left his pants on. Anyway, he could use this angle to shoot, so he wasn't afraid. Yi Er took off his clothes and threw them on the floor one by one. He crossed his arms over his chest and trembled a little. He didn't dare to stick close to Jiang Zhao's body. Zheng Ling reprimanded, "Yi Er, cooperate a little." "Aren't I being quite cooperative?" "Cooperative my ass. Have you ever seen a woman cover her chest with her hands while rolling around in bed? Be more invested. You have to think about how to sleep with such a handsome man under your body. Besides, he's such a big shot. If you sleep with him, you'll have profited. I did want to sleep with him, but it's a pity that I drugged him with the wrong drug. I shouldn't have drugged him with hallucinogens. I should have drugged him with a stronger aphrodisiac. Since it's a knockout drug, then do everything you can to knock him out. Don't show any mercy. If I was the one drugged today, the possibility of a drugged rape case would be much higher. Even if I wanted to drug him now, he's lying there like this. I don't have the tools to do it." After saying that, Yi Er tugged at his and Jiang Zhao's pants and smiled helplessly. Yi Er had not finished reenacting the scene, but Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed. He was already upset. She actually said that she couldn't bring herself to call him a handsome man. He called him a handsome man, and she even despised him for having no taste. Not to mention that, she even said that he looked like a pig. She even said that he was handsome my ass. She actually said that he was an old man. He was so angry. But when she simulated the scene where she took off her clothes and pressed herself against his body, and even posed in all kinds of ecstasy positions, his anger disappeared and his desire was ignited. If he didn't ignite it this time, he really wouldn't be a man. Who could stand such a nosebleed scene? The woman on top of him was half naked and pressed against him. Her hair was loose, and with every movement, her hair swept over his body. It swept over him like a flint rubbing against his body. It was so uncomfortable. When her soft chest pressed against him, it was even more uncomfortable. Yi Er's reenactment reached the point where he was pooping his pants. There was no way to continue the simulation because in the past, he was drugged and didn't have the tools to do it. Now, he had the tools ready, valiant and spirited, ready to be rescued by her from his pants at any time. When he was flipped over, his head was dizzy. "Honey, what kind of man isn't an old man?" As he asked, he removed the pants that Yi Er was still wearing. At this time, Yi Er finally got rid of his mind. His mind was clear. He was too crazy just now, and it was too late to save himself now. "Hubby, this kind of man isn't an old man." "Is that so? Then who's the one who looks like a pig?" After removing Yi Er's pants, he started to remove his own pants. No, isn't Zhu Beiji the brilliant pig the trend now? You don't know that in the hearts of all the women in the country, men like Zhu Beiji are no longer popular. Tang Sanzang is even less popular. That's true. Otherwise, why would you think of doing something as interesting as drugging me with an aphrodisiac? When the man barged in, Yi Er wasn't fully prepared because he had been carefully thinking of how to avoid punishment. Jiang Zhao went through a lot of trouble and explained to Yi Er, "Who asked you not to drug me this time, but to drug me with an aphrodisiac?" When Xia Qian woke up, the sky was already bright. She rubbed her eyes and sat up. Her entire back and neck were extremely uncomfortable. She stretched, yawned, and twisted her neck vigorously. "As expected, you're not a lady." Shin Kai looked at the rearview mirror and said with disdain. Xia Qian didn't grow up in a rich family. In her opinion, she didn't need to care about other people's comfort. She could stretch without caring about her image as soon as she woke up. If she was on a big and soft bed, she would have to kick her legs to feel comfortable. She could yawn with her mouth wide open, and she could twist her neck around as if she wanted to fight with someone one-on-one. However, these actions were not something the daughters of wealthy families would do. They were reserved and knew etiquette. Even when they yawned, the sound was very soft. They gently opened their mouths, covered their mouths with their small hands, and let out a soft "ha." Even if they stretched, they would not make it seem like they were going to war. But Shin Kai didn't take those rules seriously since he was young. He was attracted to gangsters and wanted to be free and unrestrained. Perhaps it was because his friends were more loyal and had strong habits in the underworld, so he liked a woman like Ouyang Yen. He felt that she was not bad, completely different from his group of friends. At this moment, Xia Qian was like a very silly girl in his eyes. "You're a lady. I'm not stopping you." Xia Qian looked out of the window. "Ling Shan? Have the ghosts all dispersed?" Shin Kai smiled. "Yes, you're too heavy. I couldn't drag you out of the car when you fell asleep last night. You can get out of the car now. I'm driving back." "What did you say?" "You're leaving me alone on the mountain. What about tonight?" When Shin Kai smiled, the corners of his mouth were slanted, and he didn't hide his naughtiness. "Then beg me. If you beg me, I'll take you down the mountain. I beg you." Xia Qian leaned her upper body in the front seat and leaned her face in front of Shin Kai. Shin Kai felt bored. He thought that she was a girl with a strong personality. It was not challenging at all. He started the car. Xia Qian was sent back to school. She tried hard to remember if she had communicated with ghosts last night. She couldn't remember and went back to sleep. The weekend was supposed to be very relaxing, but Shin Kai didn't. He returned to the procuratorate and called Ouyang Yen to ask her to go back to work in the institute. Ouyang Yen arrived at the office very quickly. Her work attitude had always been highly evaluated in the institute. Shin Kai knew that Ouyang Yen was an ambitious woman. She was very career-oriented. When she did something, she wanted to make some achievements in that field. For example, when she was studying, she wanted to be the best among everyone. When she was working, she wanted to be the best in everything. Ouyang Yen also knew that Shin Kai was a man who separated work and personal matters very clearly. It was one thing that he liked to take advantage of her through words, but he could also take advantage of her while working. He was such a person. He had been like this since university. Other people were scoundrels, but he was a hooligan. Because scoundrels only knew how to deny, but hooligans knew how to be ruthless. After pouring a cup of tea for Ouyang Yen, Shin Kai raised his hand and made a "please" gesture. Ouyang Yen sat down opposite him, separated by a desk. This time, he didn't take advantage of her. Shin Kai went straight to the point. "Inspector O, didn't I tell you about Yun Hongwei? Why are you still so stubborn?" Ouyang Yen tightened her grip on the cup, and the light in her beautiful eyes flickered. "What do you mean?" "That day at the Sea Moon restaurant, I thought I made it very clear to you. Several big things about Yun Hongwei are related to your family Ouyang. Is Jiang Zhao so good? You want to get in touch with the family Ouyang and also make Yun Yi and Jiang Zhao fall out? I don't understand what you're talking about." Ouyang Yen slammed the cup on the desk and stood up. "Shin Kai, you don't have to worry about my affairs. Ouyang Yen, you're too selfish." Shin Kai was undoubtedly disappointed. In his eyes, a woman like Ouyang Yen was synonymous with intelligence. How could she be unable to pick up and let go of emotional problems? Selfish? Ouyang Yen looked at Shin Kai. Others said that there were people who were both good and evil. This man was only serious when he was scolding people. Just like now, from the moment he opened the door, he started scolding people. When the last sentence came to a conclusion, he was still scolding people. "This annoying man, I don't understand what you're talking about Yun Hongwei. You're really a nosy and annoying person. Come and see." Songshu 566. Chapter 565. Shin Kai knew that Ouyang Yen would have a small temper, but these small tempers would not be vented in front of Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao liked women who were as gentle as water, and all the alumni of High University knew that. However, he, Shin Kai, had the ability to make Ouyang Yen so angry that her face turned red, her words were incoherent, and her words were vicious. This was what he was most proud of. How many people had seen Ouyang Yen get angry? He had seen it before. He smiled contemptuously. "You don't understand. As a child of a wealthy family, you don't even know how to protect your own family. What do you know? You've lived 28 years in vain." Ouyang Yen sat down again. "I'm looking for Yun Hongwei's loopholes, but it has nothing to do with our family Ouyang. I won't be so stupid as to put my family Ouyang in danger." Shin Kai threw the information that he had prepared in front of Ouyang Yen. "Then what's with these things? Even the details of the loan from your uncle are written clearly." Ouyang Yen opened the portfolio that Shin Kai threw in front of her and took out a stack of A4 paper. The more she looked at it, the more her hands trembled. Her beautiful eyes were filled with panic and fear. How could this be? "I really don't know." Ouyang Yen was not stupid. Even if she wanted to topple Yun Hongwei and make Yun Yi hate Jiang Zhao, it would be best for the two of them to go their separate ways. This was what she wanted, but not at the expense of anyone in the family Ouyang. No one would be stubborn enough to lose the entire family because of a man. "It wasn't you. It wasn't me. Shin Kai." Ouyang Yan's shoulders trembled when she exhaled. "Am I that brainless in your eyes? Then forget it. Fortunately, I found out about this matter and suppressed it first. You go back first. If you have nothing to do, don't cause trouble for the Yun family. It won't do you any good." Speaking of this, Ouyang Yen was a little depressed. What exactly does Jiang Zhao want? How long has Yun Hongwei been on medical parole for? If he continues to act so recklessly, sooner or later, Yunyi will make him unable to turn over a new leaf. You can't figure out what he's thinking. He must have his own methods. His chess moves every day. Yun Hongwei should be fine by the beginning of spring. Impossible. Shinkai felt that there was no need to tell Ouyang Yen some of the things he knew. It was meaningless to use these things to make the beauty smile. Alright, you go back first. I'll follow up on this matter. I don't even know if it was Yun Hongwei who offended someone, or if it was your family Ouyang who offended someone. Ouyang Yen left the procuratorate. The Yun family was indeed a scourge. She returned to the apartment in the north of the city. Nothing in the house had changed. She watered the flowers on the balcony every day. Her life had no beginning or end. A few years ago, she didn't feel anything, but now, she felt more and more lonely. She didn't know why she was rushing all day long. There wasn't even anyone to accompany her. He said he would wait for her. When she left, he said he would wait for her to come back. That was why she was so assured of him. She had always been assured of him. Others said that she was a lady. She was very gentle, but everyone also knew that she was the strongest. She didn't cry easily, but ever since she found out that he was going to get married, she loved to cry. Actually, she felt that he had changed the moment she came back. He didn't take the initiative to hug her or kiss her. He didn't fulfill his promise. If he really waited, when she came back, he should have carried her and called her Yun Yun very intimately. He still called her Yun Yun now, and his voice was very soft. It was just that there was no passion anymore. But her passion was still there. Yi Er was so annoyed by the phone that she wanted to hit her head. She had a terrible headache. Just as she moved, a pair of large hands pressed down on her waist. Then, she was strangled and couldn't move. She struggled to open her eyes and realized that she was still lying on Jiang Zhao's body. She didn't get off at all. This immoral person had indeed slept in her body. He was still there now. He was dreaming with his eyes closed. He was shaking his butt in his dreams. Look at his despicable face. Later on, he insisted that it wasn't enough to reenact the scene. Since it was a knockout drug, then they should do it. Alright, this knockout, the sky was already bright. She wanted to answer the phone, but he refused. Jiang Zhao slept very comfortably. He felt that it was really comfortable. He felt like he was looking at the sea and wanted to swim. He was a little sleepy. He felt like he was at the beach in the middle of summer. The sun was scorching, but it made him feel very comfortable. He wanted to jump into the sea quickly, but he couldn't move. It was as if he was surrounded by something. So he wanted to move his body away, but the moment he moved, the sun seemed to be even brighter. He was dying of thirst. The sea was just a step away. He touched it a little. He moved forward a little and felt that he was closer to the sea. Closer again. It was a wonderful feeling. He felt like he was going to soak in the sea. He had to jump in. He had to jump in immediately. There was something in front of him blocking his path. He couldn't move forward, but he refused to let go of the obstacle. The moment the obstacle left him, he felt uncomfortable. He had to move forward tiredly to feel comfortable. He reached out and hugged it tightly. He had to hug this obstacle and jump into the sea together to swim. So no matter how many times the phone rang, Yi Er couldn't answer it. Jiang Zhao closed his eyes, turned over, and jumped into the sea. He pressed down on the obstacle he was hugging and started swimming happily. He had never felt so special in his life. Yi Er had been tortured to death by Jiang Zhao in her dreams. This bastard could actually eat her up in her dreams and even enjoy it so much. Jiang Zhao slowly woke up and realized that something was wrong. No wonder it felt so special. This swimming spot was indeed a little different. So he continued swimming until the end. Yi Er waited for Jiang Zhao to finish. She took a shower and then picked up the phone to call back. The woman who picked up the phone said in a familiar and gentle voice, "Yi-er, it's Mom." Yi-er didn't take the initiative to call Jolie. She was used to it. She also told herself that her mother was doing well and not to disturb her. If she did, she would say that she wanted Si Jie to accompany her. She was still young and could totally have another child with her current man. But her father would never remarry in this lifetime. She knew that. She had asked, "Dad, shall I introduce you to a partner? It's enough for Dad to have all of you." She knew that her father had been hurt by her mother. The woman he loved so much betrayed him without any mercy. They didn't even put on an act, so how could he not be hurt? Her mother wasn't hurt and had someone to dote on her. She didn't need children like her father did. "Mom." Yi-er glanced at Jiang Zhao and then walked to the window. She drew the curtains and pushed the window open. After staying in the air-conditioned room for a long time, it felt very dry. At this moment, the cold air suddenly rushed in. Although it made people shiver, it also made them feel energized. The sky outside was still foggy and cold. When Yi-er called out, "Mom," she saw a white cloud that she exhaled. She exhaled silently again. This cloud was a little bigger. "Yi-er, Mom misses you." Yi-er walked to the window that she hadn't pushed open. As if she was bored, she exhaled the white cloud from her heart and lungs onto the glass. A large cloud of fog condensed on the glass. Yi-er's fingers were slender and fair. When her index finger landed on the cloud of fog, she slowly wrote, "Mom." When she finished writing the word, the cloud of fog wasn't big enough. She exhaled another cloud of fog and wrote another word, "Mom." When tears rolled down her face, she didn't cry. She smiled and said, "Mom, I miss you too." She knew that her mother wanted to see her because of Si Jie. This wasn't the first time she had called her. She missed her and thought about Si Jie. She wanted to persuade her to let Si Jie go. Her mother didn't know that although she loved Si Jie as much as her life, she would also get jealous. She would also feel sad because of her mother's favoritism. When she was young, she had never thought about whether her father was nicer to Si Jie or to her. Si Jie could get whatever she wanted, and she could get whatever she wanted too. Because her father said that Yi-er and Si Jie were both her father's flesh and blood. Actually, Si Jie was also her mother's flesh and blood. It was just that she didn't know what she was to her mother. Jolie sobbed softly. "Yi-er, come out and see Mom. Let's talk about Si Jie, okay?" Yi-er felt the man's broad and reassuring hand on her shoulder. She massaged her temples and turned her head to look at the man who was wiping her tears with a tissue. The corners of her mouth trembled slightly. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi-er's eyes that were filled with tears. With a gentle blink, the big bag of tears burst out and flowed all over her face. He held her head and lowered his head to kiss her forehead. Then he moved his mouth to her other ear that wasn't pressed against the phone. His voice was low and soft, so it wouldn't spread outside of her ear. It could only pass through her ear canal, enter her eardrum, and flow into her heart. "Mrs. Jiang, I'm sorry. I forgot to give you a morning kiss today. I'll make it up to you now," he comforted her by saying, "Good morning, my wife, every day, I'll say good morning to you. It will always be like this. It will be like this again and again, year after year, forever." She didn't have to worry about anything else. "You have me. You still have me." The woman reached out and grabbed the man's shirt. They hadn't put on their jackets yet. She felt that she was originally shivering from the cold, but because of the warm current flowing into her heart, she felt warm all over. She rested her forehead on his chest. She had leaned there for the whole night. When she was exhausted, and sore all over, she would always lean on his chest and lie on his chest. "Mom, you can't not talk about Si Jie. If you don't talk about Si Jie, I'll go and see you." Yi-er couldn't give in. Si Jie's matter wasn't up to her. Forget it. However, they all treated her as an iron man, a steel man, a saint who wouldn't fall. They all felt that she could make any decision because she had endured such a tough 2 years. No matter how tough it was, she still had to comfort her father and take care of her younger brother. She even took care of her younger brother until he grew up quite a bit. He didn't go astray, his grades were excellent, and he was still a little gentleman. Every one of them felt that Yunyi was a very capable girl. She wasn't even 20 years old, but she was so capable. How worthy of learning from her. She must have a lot of extraordinary abilities. She must be very intelligent. Therefore, they all felt that everything had to start with her. As long as they could get past her, everything would be easy. She knew that her mother thought this way. But her mother didn't know that regardless of whether she was willing or not, her father would never agree to give up Si Jie because Si Jie looked so much like her mother. Therefore, her mother had bet on the wrong person. In her mother's eyes, the daughter of a saint who was omnipotent was actually useless. Everything that she had today wasn't real ability that she had painstakingly cultivated step by step. It was only because she had gotten into a man's bed that she was lucky. This man was a good man, that's all. Without this man, Yunyi would still be that poor Yunyi. Her father would still be in prison, and her younger brother could only go to an ordinary boarding school. Come and see. Hongcha 866. Chapter 566. However, in this man's eyes, no matter how much she, Yunyi, struggled, she would not be able to achieve anything. He despised her and looked down on her little tricks. He always hit the nail on the head and saw through her tricks. In front of him, she was just a paper tiger. In front of him, she could only rely on pleasing him, acting coquettishly, and acting cute to get by. In front of him, she couldn't be any more ordinary. She was just a woman who could only rely on his abilities to get by. She really hoped that everyone could see this and see that she was not a great Saint Seiya at all. There were people who could control her. As long as the man hugging her was willing, he could do whatever he wanted to her. How could a Saint Seiya be so weak? She sighed softly again. Hearing Yi Er's words, Zhou Li could only agree. Okay. Yi Er, Mommy promises you that I won't mention Sijie. I definitely won't mention Sijie, okay? Mommy just wants to see you. Mommy misses you. The man's arm wrapped around the woman's waist. He held her shoulder with one hand and slowly soothed her emotions with the other. From top to bottom, his warmth seeped through her blouse and wrapped around her back, refusing to leave. Waves of warmth made her heart tremble. Jiang Zhao, oh Jiang Zhao, how can you be so gentle to me? Are you trying to kill me? Okay, where? Zhou Li said, how about the leisure residence? Anything is fine. You decide. Then let's do it at 3 in the afternoon. I'll wait for you there. Yi Er hung up the phone. Jiang Zhao rubbed Yi Er's face. Don't cry. I'll go with you, okay? Jiang Zhao was smiling and teasing Yi Er at this moment. Actually, he was indescribably angry, but the person who called was his mother-in-law. He couldn't get angry. If it was someone else who called early in the morning and made her like this, he would definitely smash the phone and make her cry endlessly. He saw her slowly writing the word, Mommy, on the glass. Her small shoulders were trembling like a sieve. He really wanted to smash the glass. What kind of mother was she? What kind of mother could be like Zhou Li? Wasn't she afraid that she would have nightmares at night if she didn't care about her daughter and son and went to enjoy a luxurious life? If he hadn't heard her heartbroken words. Mom, I miss you too. He really wanted to smash her phone. Cutting the flesh and scraping the bones, cutting the bones to connect the tendons, and bloodlines were things that others could never explain clearly. Although they were husband and wife and they should not be outsiders, he had already categorized Zhou Li as an outsider from a personal point of view. It was just that he could not show it in front of her. After all, she still cared about that mother of hers. She was still young. When she was 17 years old and shouldering everything by herself, the meaning of the word, mother, to her must have been extraordinary. No. Why? You can send me there. Seeing that Jiang Zhao was not speaking, Yi Er pouted. Go home and have a good sleep. I'm just worried that you won't have a good rest. You're not like me. I'm unemployed. You're under a lot of pressure from work. That's it. More than that. Yi Er sighed softly. My mother must have something very private to say to me. If you're here, how is she going to say it? Say something that will make you cry. Then I'd better go and ask her to stop talking. Jiang Zhao was a little stubborn at this time. When Zhou Li appeared, Yi Er cried loudly. It was completely different from the tears that she usually shed. Usually, when he made her cry, he would just tease her and coax her, and she would be fine after a few moments. She was completely like a child. Zhou Li was different. That kind of hurt was not small. It was directly buried in her heart. If he was here, she would have someone to lean on. If he wasn't here and Zhou Li said something, she wouldn't even be able to find a shoulder to cry on. Even if he couldn't stop her from interacting with such a mother, it was his responsibility to stop such a mother from hurting her. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er was biting her lip and looking at her, conveying her difficulties. All right, I won't say anything, okay? I'll book a private room next to yours, okay? After you're done talking, we'll eat together. If you don't want to eat together, we'll go home together, okay? The tea houses in the leisure residence were all private rooms. They had sliding lattice doors and were for commoner consumption. The rooms were separated by wooden partitions. They looked antique and had a bit of a taste. However, since the cost of production was here, the soundproofing wasn't very good. But for commoners, it was considered a good environment. Yi Er didn't know why her mother chose such a place. After all, her mother looked very wealthy. She could have arranged to meet at a more high-end place with a more private environment. Yi Er arrived first because Jiang Zhao insisted on a place where the two private rooms were connected. If Zhou Li went to book a private room first, the private room next to hers might not be available. After Yi Er sat down on a hard Chinese-style chair, she asked for a pot of rose tea. She called Zhou Li to tell her that she had arrived. When Zhou Li arrived, Yi Er was stunned. Although her mother was dressed in branded goods, she looked a little haggard. After Zhou Li sat down, she looked at the grapefruit tea in front of her. Her eyes were a little red. When she looked up at Yi Er, she was a little ashamed. Yi Er, when you're free, come out and have a meal with Mom. Mom misses you a lot. Okay. Yi Er nodded. Then she smiled and said happily, okay, I'm going to the university town from Monday to Friday for tuition classes. I'm in high school and I'm preparing to take the college entrance exam again next year. But I'm free after school and on weekends. Yi Er talked about her schedule seriously. She was looking forward to how her mother would feel when she heard about her recent living situation. Would she be very concerned and ask how her studies were? Were her classmates easy to get along with? What major did she apply for? Which school did she go to? Did she plan to study in a college or university? Was she stressed? These were things that she should have experienced in the past. If she missed them, she would have to experience them again. Would her mother be like what her classmates said? My mother is so annoying. All she knows is to ask me to read books, do test papers, and do homework every day. She's afraid that I won't die in a pile of books. My mother is also so annoying. Every day, she asks me how many points I got in the test today, who got the award, who got the first place, who was the top scorer in science, and whose child's parents were migrant workers but got into Peking University. In her eyes, other children will always be more capable than me. My mother is even more annoying. She does homework until 10 o'clock and cooks a bowl of supper for you. Just when you're about to be touched, she says that she'll read for another hour and a half before going to bed. Her memory is the best before bed. She wants you to wake up early tomorrow morning to memorize. I cooked some eggs for you. It's good for your memory. My mother is the real deal. She even cut off the TV and internet at home. If you want to check for information, you have to get her to connect you. She bought a CD player at home and plays music. Do you know what it's playing? The world's most beautiful English. Every day when I wake up, the house is filled with slow music, followed by monotonous, when love beckons you, follow him. Oh my God, as long as I'm at home, I'm about to break down. Yi-er also wondered if her mother would be the same as her. She wanted her to experience what life was like with her mother nagging at her side. However, Jolie said, Yi-er, I know you don't want to see your mother and don't like her mentioning Si-jie. But Mom is really in a difficult position. Mom has her difficulties. The smile on Yi-er's face had not dissipated. Just now, it was like a flower petal blooming in the sun. At this moment, it was suddenly hit by a cold wind and the flower withered instantly. Sigh, she could only sigh in her heart. Blood relations were really a scary relationship. If it were friends or lovers, it wouldn't be so painful, right? You don't want to be calculative, but you want to be calculative. Mom said, I know you don't want to see your mother. Ha, she actually didn't know how much she wanted to see her. Si-jie. She said she wouldn't mention it, but she still had to. Forget it. She shouldn't be calculative. She was already so old and married. How could she be jealous of her younger brother? She would be like a child. But Dad said, Yi-er, in Dad's eyes, you will always be a child. As long as Dad is alive, even if your hair is white, your back is bent, and your face is full of wrinkles, you will still be a child. Mom, we agreed not to mention Si-jie, so let's not, okay? The tears in Jolie's eyes were about to fall. Her hand on the table reached out and grabbed Yi-er's hand, which was holding a small glass cup to warm it. Yi-er, if Mom didn't say that, you wouldn't have come out to see Mom. Mom can't live without Si-jie. Si-jie must go with Mom. Help Mom, okay? Yi-er looked down at the rose tea in the cup. It had turned a light yellow. Her tears fell into the cup and rippled the water. When she choked, her voice was intermittent. Her voice was not soft, but it sounded sad and weak. Mom, don't you miss me at all? Don't you miss me at all? I already told you that next year. I'm taking the college entrance exam. Aren't you happy? Aren't you happy? The door to the room opened. Jiang Zhao stood at the door. When he strode in, he called Jolie Mom, emotionlessly. He walked to Yi-er's side, held her hand, and pulled her up. He took a deep breath and frowned slightly. I was the one who asked you to go to university. I was the one who chose your major. Who do you need to be happy for you? The person you should be asking the most is me, are you happy or not? Do you understand? Yi-er looked up. She pursed her lips for a long time. Clear snot flowed out of her nostrils as she cried. Jiang Zhao, then are you happy that I'm going to university? Jiang Zhao's heart ached. He took a piece of tissue and wiped off her snot. He held her in his arms, rested his chin on the top of her head, and said softly, I'm happy. Yunyi, I'm very happy that you're going to university. Really? Her father said, that's great, that's great. Her brother said, sister, you can do it. Her husband said, Yunyi, I'm very happy. I'm really happy. She didn't know if it was because of her own feelings, but she felt that Jiang Zhao's words sounded especially sweet. It was like a dry and warm cotton blanket suddenly wrapped around a person who had been exposed to the cold wind for a long time. It was so warm that her blood started to flow again. Her throat, which was so dry that she didn't want to speak, was suddenly filled with the scent of mint. The sliding door of the private room was closed. There was a stove in the corner with an old teapot on it. The water in the teapot started to boil, and white steam came out of the spout. The man didn't care that his mother-in-law was sitting on the other side of the table. He gently rubbed the back of her head with his large palm. When he kissed her mouth, his movements were very gentle. His soft lips licked, parted, and kissed again gently. There was no desire, only comfort. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 567. Jiang Zhao thought that he must be crazy. Although the door was closed, there were other people sitting next to him. To him, they were in public. He would never do such a thing. But what else could he do? What else could he do? He saw dependence and gratitude in her eyes. He was the God who saved her from the abyss of suffering. She longed for him to pull her out of her pain. He had to give her support and comfort. Otherwise, she would not be able to stand or walk. She felt that she was balanced, wronged, and upset. Hugs and kisses. So what if he was a politician? Did he not have any emotions and desires? Did he not have anyone he wanted to protect? So what if the door was pushed open at this moment? The person he was hugging and kissing was his wife. Zhou Li was embarrassed beyond words. It was not because her daughter and son-in-law were kissing in front of her. Although she was a mother of two, she was not conservative. She was embarrassed because of the way Jiang Zhao looked at her when he entered the door. It was as if he was looking at a passerby with some disgust. It was as if a stranger had appeared out of nowhere and disturbed him. When he called her Mom, there was no emotion in his voice. There was only the alienation in his eyes, as if he wanted to isolate her. Jiang Zhao. Zhou Li took a deep breath. Since he called her Mom, she had to put on the airs of a mother-in-law. Jiang Zhao acted as if he did not hear anything. He did not turn his head. He bit Yi Er's lips and pulled twice. When he let go, he rubbed her face. Don't cry. Let's go home now. Seeing that the woman's eyes were still red, he lowered his head and whispered in her ear, let's go back to our home. Yi Er grinned. The cloudy skies suddenly cleared up. The sun was bright and dazzling, piercing Jiang Zhao's heart. The two of them then turned to look at Zhou Li. Zhou Li said again, Jiang Zhao, have a seat. Jiang Zhao smiled, but there was no warmth in his eyes. Mom, I'm not sitting. Yi Er ate very little for lunch. Let's go back and get something to eat. If you're hungry, just order something to eat here. There are many snacks in this tea house. Jiang Zhao smiled. Nah, she's not used to eating outside. She always feels that the food outside is not clean. She's afraid that she'll have diarrhea if she eats. Speaking of this, Jiang Zhao paused and tightened his grip on the woman's shoulder. He lowered his head to look at the strands of hair on her forehead and fell into a trance. His Adam's apple bobbed, and he looked into Zhou Li's eyes again with a bitter smile. Actually, it's not that. I know that she's just used to cooking by herself. At that time, Dad was in prison, and the relevant accounts were frozen. Si Jia was picky and wanted to eat delicious food. At that time, she didn't have the money to take Si Jia to a big restaurant, so she looked up some recipes on the internet and learned to cook by herself. Now, she can cook a lot of dishes and snacks. Speaking of this, Jiang Zhao chuckled. Mom, tell me. A tall girl like her standing in the kitchen doesn't look like a chef at all. She's still so young, but she's already like a chef. She's also never had a master. No one would believe me if I told them. My mom is already so old, but she only knows how to cook scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Zhou Li's mouth was slightly open, trembling so much that she couldn't close it. She saw Yi Er lower her head and press it against Jiang Zhao's chest. She softly said, Hubby, let's go home. Don't talk about it anymore. Jiang Zhao didn't move. He still had a smile on his face, but his gaze was cold. He spoke slowly but aggressively. His words were like knives that couldn't be avoided. When they pierced into someone's flesh, the tip of the knife pulled back and cut the flesh and bones. It was very satisfying. I've always told Yi Er that her culinary skills were inherited from her parents. But Dad said that he could never figure out the amount of salt he had. So I guessed that she must have inherited Mom's skills. Otherwise, how could she be so capable at such a young age? With her talent, I wouldn't believe that she could be a self-taught genius. Ha, actually, I really like eating at home. It's very warm. Why don't you invite Mom over some other day? Don't blame me for being immature. I really want to try Mom's cooking. It's definitely better than Yi-er's. After he finished speaking, he lowered his head and kissed Yi-er on the top of her head again. At this moment, she was grabbing onto his clothes tightly. She endured him telling her mother about her past hardships in a humorous manner. He sighed and laughed. Sigh, it's all Yi-er's fault. She raised Si-jie's appetite to the point that he refused to go to boarding school and wanted to eat her cooking every day. She raised my appetite to the point that I only want to eat dishes cooked by people who can cook better than her. Why don't we do it tomorrow? Is Mom free? Zhou Li's body swayed from the shock. She quickly supported herself on the table and exhaled in a shaky breath. Jiang Zhao, I don't know how to cook. Oh. How is that possible? Jiang Zhao looked at Zhou Li with a gaze that said, stop joking. Filial piety. If this woman had treated Yi-er well, he wouldn't have said these words to hurt her. He would have sincerely called her mom. Zhou Li was hurt by Jiang Zhao's gaze. Did he want her to explain? Did he want her to explain why she didn't know how to cook? Because her life had always been good. Because she had never suffered. Because even when her children were running around for a living, she still had a luxurious car and a luxurious mansion. Delicacies? But who would dare to explain this? She didn't dare. She saw the daggers and swords in Jiang Zhao's eyes. She didn't dare. Jiang Zhao, I want to talk to Yi-er about Si-jie. Can you lend me some time? Zhou Li originally wanted to put on the airs of a mother-in-law, but now she knew that she couldn't get any respect from Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao said, Mom, I'm sorry. There's no room for discussion. I've already made it very clear the last time. I can afford to raise Si-jie. You don't have to worry about his growth. Besides, Yi-er has taken good care of Si-jie. He didn't say that you can't see Si-jie. He's always at home during the weekends. Mom can come to 9th Mansion often. When Yi-er was sad to a certain extent, she knew how to improve and repair herself. She wriggled out of Jiang Zhao's arms, sniffled, and took a tissue to wipe her tears. Mom, there's no room for discussion about Si-jie. You've already divorced Dad. I don't care who you're with now. I wish you happiness. When you're old, Si-jie and I will take care of you. So, you don't have to think about raising a child to protect you in your old age. We have to fulfill our responsibilities and obligations. I won't shirk from them. I won't find excuses to shirk. Don't worry. Live the life you want now. Si-jie is at home today. Why don't you come with us to 9th Mansion to see him? Zhou Li stood up. Yi-er, Si-jie is still young. He needs a mother. Yi-er nodded. She raised her hands and smoothed her hair back. Then she let out a long sigh. Actually, I've been a good mother for the past 2 years. I've been very responsible. I've been even more serious than the nanny the Yun family hired. I've picked him up, washed him up, and had heart-to-heart talks. I've done everything well. After Mom takes him away, can you be like me and do everything by yourself? Mom will definitely hire a nanny. Why don't you just follow me? Zhou Li was dealt another blow. After Jiang Zhao pulled Yi-er out of the room, Zhou Li slumped back into the chair. She took out her cell phone from her Hermes crocodile leather bag and dialed a number. Her anger rose immediately. I'm telling you. I've done my best. If you ask me to talk to Yi-er about Si-jie again, I'll just chop you to death with a knife. After venting her anger, she suddenly burst into tears. Every time I see her, I feel like slapping myself. Do you know that I was slapped by my own daughter? Jiang Zhao drove the car and did not mention Si-jie and Zhou Li at all. It was as if nothing had happened. Honey, I want to eat crabs tonight. Let's make some braised crabs, okay? Yi Er nodded and looked at the traffic ahead. What kind of crab do you want to eat? Braised crabs? I don't really like green crabs. How about swimming crabs? Okay, we'll go to the supermarket later. You can wait for me in the car outside. I'll come out after buying the crabs. It won't take long. I'll go with you. You can teach me how to choose while you're at it. Next time when I want to eat crabs but we don't have them at home, I can bring some home. That way, you won't have to run out to buy them again. Forget it. Just sit in the car. When we go to the supermarket, there are a lot of middle-aged people and old ladies. Many people know you. When they see you later, they'll all come over to greet you. It'll be so annoying. Otherwise, we won't be able to eat dinner at 9 o'clock. Jiang Xiao could only obey. Yi Er did not push the shopping cart when they arrived at the supermarket. He only took a dark blue shopping basket and bought some crabs. When Yi Er just entered the supermarket, a man with furrowed eyebrows got out of an SUV in the parking lot. He closed the car door, clipped on his sunglasses, and followed in. Jiang Xiao felt a little tired. He did not get enough sleep last night. When Yi Er left, he yawned. He adjusted the seat and lay down. He wanted to sleep for a while. Less than 5 minutes after he closed his eyes, the monotonous ringtone of his phone started to ring. Before a person entered a state of deep sleep, they especially hated to be disturbed. He really did not want to answer the phone. He had never been so willful before. At his age, there were very few people who called to chat. Usually, it was because there was something important. He yawned again and unlocked his phone to answer the call. Hello. Brother. Qin Fian said. Jiang Xiao closed his eyes. Yes, what's the matter? You still want to sleep with sister-in-law? Qin Fian laughed and teased him. No, she went to buy groceries. I'm waiting for her in the car. I'm lying down to sleep for a while. I think she'll be back soon. Let's talk about something important. He opened his eyes and looked at the roof of the car. He stretched out his long arm and pressed the button on the sunroof. The sun visor slowly slid back. The sky outside was a little gray. There was not a single cloud in sight. It was a little regretful. I was just about to tell you that I want to freeload dinner tonight. I really want to eat sister-in-law's home-cooked dishes. The taste is simply too extraordinary. Jiang Xiao sat up proudly. You want to eat? Too extraordinary. Look at whose wife she was. As he thought about it, he laughed happily. Don't say this to Grandpa. If he hears this, he will say that you're a little bastard who can't raise a family. It's too late for Grandpa to be happy. We've already agreed that I will go to mansion number 9 tonight. Oh, brother, I'm at the shopping mall. What color does sister-in-law like? Welfare, Hengcha 866. Chapter 568. Jiang Xiao was puzzled. He wanted to give her a gift. Since when did Fian want to give Yi Er a gift? This was not a good thing. He had to be on his guard. Why are you asking this? Qin Fian sighed and laughed. Our beauty, you called me from overseas and said that I have no conscience as a son. I always ask my secretary to pick a gift for her. She knew that it was my secretary who picked it. She was very hurt and said that she had given birth to her son for nothing. She didn't want to see me anymore. So I came to the mall to pick a gift for her. Women are so troublesome. Why is there such a big difference between Auntie and her? Jiang Xiao laughed when he heard that. Come on, Sister Yu has given you enough face. Sister Zhen is the one who is hard to deal with. She wants to be high and mighty like a mother, and then she wants to be a young girl. Calling her mother makes her sound old. Sometimes she is unhappy, and when I call her Sister Zhen, she will say that the younger generation has no respect for their elders. Sister Yu is overseas. If she wants to come back because of her motherly love, you will be bullied by her every day. Choose a gift well. Your sister-in-law suits any color. If you want to buy more. Hats, clothes, pants, shoes. I will send you the sizes later. Oh, buy a shawl. It's cold. Buy boots for her. The ones with thick fur. Her feet are a little cold. Also, buy a pair of lambskin gloves, those are very soft. As for the color, buy something brighter. I think pink is pretty good. Also, buy a scarf in a bright color. Yellow, sky blue, light green, pink, soft purple, one of each. As for the overcoat. Qin Fian pretended to be angry and stopped him. Bandit, did I say that I want to buy so much? I just saw a small cloth clip with a bow. It's 30 yuan each. I just wanted to ask her what color she wanted. Jiang Zhao acted as if Qin Fian was right in front of him. He said seriously, "Oh, I forgot. We are not cooking tonight. Don't come. Okay, don't go home later if you dare. I have already asked my secretary to bring a bouquet of flowers to your house. She can only leave when I go. She is chatting with your father-in-law. Then you can go after dinner. We don't have enough bowls at home, and we don't want to waste money by adding more bowls. You know, our salary has dropped now. It's okay. I'll eat with a plate." Jiang Zhao laughed and said, "Qin Fian, are you shameless enough to buy a 30 yuan clip when you visit someone else's house?" Qin Fian said, "He's obviously one of us. How did he become someone else? You're treating me like an outsider." Qin Fian hung up the phone and dialed his secretary's line. "Beauty, send in the things I finished working overtime today. I want to use them." "All right, wait a moment, pretty boy." Qin Fian finished reading the information sent by his secretary and took a deep breath. He rested his elbows on the table and crossed his fingers to support his chin. Behind his glasses, his eyes were changing rapidly. He racked his brains. This Anan is only 20 years old. How can she be so experienced? Is she Yunwu's girlfriend? Because Yunwu is weak, Grandpa, she found such a decisive girlfriend for Yunwu. A 20-year-old girl, coercing, enticing, and hitting the snake's weak spot with every step. Every move is effective. How can she grasp the evilness, greed, and fear of the human heart so well? These people are really hard to understand. Yi Er picked up the net and scooped up a few crabs. Then she picked one up and weighed it. She turned it over and looked at its belly. She gently pressed the belly button with her thumb. Not bad. It's very fat. She chose the crabs and weighed them. Then she went to the vegetable section to choose chives, ginger, and other spices. Because there was a lot of traffic in the supermarket, she did not notice that there was a burly man following her. She queued up to pay the bill and carried the shopping bags out of the supermarket. Jiang Zhao's car was parked a little far away. Fortunately, there were not many things, so she could walk there. "Miss, let me help you carry it." Yi Er turned around and saw the friendly man in sunglasses. There was some stubble around his mouth. She took a step back. Her instincts told her that he wanted to strike up a conversation with her. "No need, thank you." Just as she was about to leave, the man in sunglasses chased after her. His voice was a little hoarse. "It's okay. Park your car here. I'll help you carry it." Yi Er's identity was different from before. She was afraid that her rough image would be photographed and made a mountain out of a molehill and affect Jiang Zhao. Therefore, she always paid attention to her image in public. Yet, she rejected him with a smile. In the eyes of the passers-by, she was a familiar person. So when a strange smell entered her nose and made her dizzy, no passers-by felt anything strange when she was helped into the car. When Yi Er woke up, the sky was already dark. When she realized that she had been kidnapped, she was drenched in cold sweat. In the past 2 years, she had encountered many things. The most dangerous thing was that time when she was chasing a robber and almost got stabbed. She had never been kidnapped. Let me out of the car. She didn't ask who he was. A familiar person wouldn't treat her like this. She was tied up and lying on her side in the back seat. It was difficult for her to sit up. Get out of the car. The man in sunglasses smiled coldly. You can go to hell. What do you want? How much do you want? Money? No, I just want your life. Yi-er breathed out shakily. She couldn't calm down. She wanted to cry, she wanted to argue, she wanted to break free from the ropes on her back, open the door, and jump out of the car. I didn't offend anyone. You're lying. Lying? It's no use lying to ghosts. I'm just taking your money. I'll give you a quick death later. Then, I'll chop you up and throw you into the river to feed the fish. No one will find any clues. Don't worry, my methods are always clean. Your family will just think that you're missing. Let me out of the car, you beast. Ah. Yi-er was really crying. She was so scared that she was crying. No one could be so calm in the face of death and being dismembered. At least, she couldn't do it. She found many reasons for herself. She was still young. It was normal that she couldn't take it. She was afraid of death. She always felt that a bad life was better than a good death. No matter what, it was better to be alive. She still had many things to do. Her father's sentence had not really been reduced. If she died, would Jiang Zhao still care about her? Would her father still go to jail? What about her younger brother? He was still so young. She still had someone to love. She hadn't made Jiang Zhao fall in love with her. If she died like this, it would be a waste. She loved him until she died, but after she died, he would marry another woman. He said before that he wouldn't care about her family anymore. At most, he would give them some money. She didn't want to die. She couldn't accept it. The man driving was expressionless. Cry. Before you die, you should think about the grievances you've suffered. Cry well. After crying, you'll be satisfied when you cross the bridge of helplessness and feel free. Only then did Yi-er know that there really was such a demon in the world. He must be a repeat offender. He was like an ancient killer who made people tremble in fear. He was very fast. He understood the fear people felt before they died. He even had the professional ethics to tell you that you don't have to be afraid even if you go to hell. You do things for money. If you let me go, I'll give you money. Yes, she had money. Jiang Zhao had given her a lot of money. It was all in the card. When he gave her the card, she thought it was just some living expenses. Later, she used her USB to check online. After counting for a long time, she was so scared that her heart almost jumped out of her chest. So later, when Jiang Zhao wanted her to learn accounting, she didn't object. Perhaps she could help him manage some accounts in the future. But wasn't saving her life more important now? He had said that the money was hers. Then, he wouldn't say anything if she took out a portion of it to buy her life, right? The man laughed coldly. In my line of work, the biggest taboo is to go back on your words. If I let you go because you offered a higher price, how am I going to do business in the future? Yi-er was disappointed. Her mind was in a mess. She didn't dare to play tricks with someone who wanted her life. She supported herself to sit up and leaned against the car door. Her ankles were tied, and it was too difficult for her to move. The man who was driving knew she couldn't play any tricks and didn't stop her. Think about it. A woman with her limbs tied up in a locked car. What can she do? The streetlights outside were lit up, and the car was driving along the river towards a less populated area. Yi-er thought about how the man in front said he wanted to chop her up and feed her to the fishes. She felt cold all over. My husband is the mayor. Aren't you afraid? What's there to be afraid of? The man laughed. Don't talk about the mayor's wife. As long as someone can pay me a satisfactory price, I will take your life. Yi Er felt a heavy blow to her heart. She suddenly gave up on negotiating with this man. It was useless to talk to a killer who only cares about money. Her mobile phone did not ring. It should be switched off or thrown away. Yi Er looked out of the car window and saw many cars passing by each other. Young people love to race. Suddenly, that car made her feel refreshed. It was the kind of feeling when the cold wind blew. That day, Ching Su had greeted her at the 9th mansion. That day, it was Min Zikai who was driving this car. She couldn't be wrong. The Cayenne was decorated with willow branches, and the Yi air was fluttering in the wind. It was as if spring had arrived. A fiery red Cayenne with tender green willow leaves. Only Ching Su would do such a thing. She had always been rebellious. She didn't care about matching, fashion, and taboos. If you said she was neither fish nor fowl, she would say she was different. If you said she was lawless, she would say she was pursuing her own individuality. Yi Er was tall. When she sat up straight, she was taller than the average girl. She leaned against the car door, and the fingers that were tied behind her back could touch the window switch. Since she was going to die anyway, she had to take the risk. If Min Zikai was here, he might save her. When Yi Er saw her car overtaking the red Cayenne, she rolled down the window and leaned against the door. She wanted to jump out of the car. But the speed of the car was too fast, and she didn't dare to take the risk. If she jumped out of the car behind would catch up with her. She would die. The man in shades saw her reaction and scolded. "Damn woman." When the man in shades pressed the switch and was about to close the back door, Yi Er shouted at the car behind. "Help! Help!" The car window was still stuck tightly to Yi Er's sternum. It hurt a lot, but this gave Yi Er the chance to shout a few more times. "Help!" The man in shades stopped the car by the roadside. He quickly knelt on the seat, rolled down the window, and released Yi Er. He reached out and pulled her back. The road by the river was quiet and wide, especially when they were driving towards a deserted area. Ching Su drove. Even with the windows closed, she could almost hear the sound of the wind. Today was a special day. She had to go to the shoal to burn some incense and bring some of her mother's favorite food. Just as she was lost in thought, she saw half a body sticking out of the off-road vehicle in front of her and shouting at her car. Even though it was already dark, she could still recognize who was in the car. How dangerous was that? Did he want to die? Welfare, Xinwu 799.